let's have a look here. Give me a second. Alright, so far so good. And where am I? Okay, let's have a look. Hello Tina, hello Ivona, greetings. I was just getting on with the Astrodoodle. Alright, give me a second. I will catch up with you guys in a minute here. Hold on. Alright. Let's leave it at that, and we'll go from there. Hello, hello, hello. Good evening. So, yes, check out Operator Starsky. Oh, is that a YouTube channel? What's that? Operator Starsky. Huh. Okie dokie. Let me see what you're. Hello, give me a second, Tina. I want to check up a couple things and get myself organized here. Okay. Thank you, Tina. So we got that sorted out. Super duper. Alright, let me go back over here. Thank you, Tina. Hello, Karen over there in Operator Starsky. Hello, Karen over there in New Zealand. Well, you're probably glad that it's approaching winter time for you guys. You probably just had a little bit too much fun so far. Operator Starsky. Okay. Man, you'll have to explain that to me in secret, okay, Tina? My mind is not clearly all together. Otherwise, I would have figured out the cryptic messages. So here we are. This is the ephemeris for March. This is basically illustrates, I mean, it doesn't make much sense when you look at it like this, but basically it represents the degrees of the placements of the planets all around our solar system based on Earth being in the middle. We observe everything from the position of Earth, and so we see that the sun moves around us. Of course, most of us realize now that we actually rotate around the sun, but because the way that I do astrology, which is basically simplified Western astrology, I just use the main planets, the North Node, and a couple of other things in private readings, and that's about it. And that's more than enough for most people to handle. And we can discern a tremendous amount just from simplified Western astrology. And all of the placement of the planets is already well charted for decades and decades to come, and it all looks like charts like this. And then people feed these into their computer softwares and everything, and then they come up with images like this. And so that's kind of how it works. And like, for example, right now, let's take the sun. The sun is in Aries. So I would be looking up here. Oh, here's the sun. And it is the 27th. It's in 6 degrees, 18 minutes of Aries. That means it's right over here. Each of these chunks here is 30 degrees. It looks very similar. It's the same as a protractor. Okay, let me see if I can find a protractor for you. I wouldn't be surprised if I have one hanging around somewhere. And then it might make more sense. I guess I can't find it right now. But yeah, a protractor, it's one of those plastic circle things they give you in school where you learn the degrees, like this is the 0 mark, and this is up to 180 degrees, and this is up to 360 degrees. And there are 12 slices in Western astrology corresponding to what we call the 12 sun signs. Aries, Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, Virgo, Libra, Scorpio, Sagittarius, Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And some of you have been here for a while, so you know that there are general themes associated with each sign. Like Sagittarian energy is known for being adventurous and optimistic. Scorpio's known for being secretive and powerful. And Libra is all about kindness and balance and harmony in relationships, unless it isn't. And so on. And it goes on like that. Yeah. Oh, let me make a note of that. A Ukrainian soldier who blogs. Okay, thank you, Tina. Operator Starsky. Oh, that would be good. It would be like getting like a personalized insider's view of what's going on the ground. So thanks. I'll check that out, Tina. Thank you so much. And I got your donation, by the way, Tina, so I'm going to be putting you up here on the page. Super duper. You're very kind, as always. Now, let me explain before we get too far into things. On this little channel, let me say hello first of all. I'll come back to the Astrodoodle in a minute. I just want to say hello. Greetings, everyone. This is Terra Lumination, broadcasting live from sunny, warm Las Vegas, Nevada, United States of America. And it is evening over here. Starting to get warm, or you might say hot. And soon it's going to be very hot, dangerously hot. Anyway, I don't know about you, but there's a sense, to me it feels like there's a sense of exhaustion from what's been happening in the world lately. And it's very, very similar to what happens to the soldiers in combat and the countries, in particular Ukraine, that is in a state of war. The phenomenon of war is very, very consuming. It requires huge amounts of calories, resources, and energy to go to war. And you can think of it, as World War III if you want, because it is in its own way. But it's the same thing that would happen perhaps in a bar fight or an extremely hostile interaction with, let's say, a close associate of yours. Sometimes it's like husbands and wives, or boyfriends and girlfriends, or business partners. Sometimes things get extremely heated, and it takes huge amounts of energy. Like let's say that you are being attacked, deservedly, undeservedly, doesn't matter. Let's say that you are being attacked verbally or physically or psychologically by an external entity, a person, or something like that. It puts you in a state where you have to protect and defend yourself to survive, to hold on to human life. And when there is extreme pressure, then you have to exert extreme effort to sustain yourself. Now, when these situations extend for a few minutes, like in a very, very vicious argument in a bar fight or something, it's very, very volatile, hostile, and then it dies off. But then there's typically like a period of shock and then a period of recovery, and it can take days, weeks to get over the incident. But I think, hello, thank you, Karen, no problem. I see that. But what's happening when you get into a full-blown war is you get these chronic conditions that are triggered, where, like in your physiology, in your biology, cortisol is pumping continuously. It's as though life is a permanent emergency. Now, human life is not supposed to be conducted as a permanent emergency. Most of the time, we're supposed to. I know I have the privilege of living life in such a way that mostly I just take care of my own business. I mind my own business. I eat, I sleep, and I do all the routine things that every. Lesieli Etiaki. Hello. Good evening. Would you like a reading? You just put a little super chat donation, just like Karen. That'll work. Anyway, the point I'm trying to get at is that when I look at all the stories that are unfolding across the world right now, there's a sense there. When you focus on Ukraine, what you see is from a long distance. We're very lucky these days. We can observe war from the distance without getting our hands bloody. And you can see the extreme damage and destruction of life and property, and the continuous process of war. And it's very traumatizing for both sides, for the attacker and the defender. And on both sides, what I see is that both sides are suffering from extreme exhaustion, from having lived for about a month now, about 4 weeks, in a state of hyper-violent combat. And it's getting worse, and it's getting worse. We all knew this would happen months and months and months ago. You could see it in the charts, highly predictable. But what's happening is myself, and I don't know about anyone else, but I wouldn't be surprised if you personally are getting exhausted and drained by just simply by observing this war. And I'm not spending all my time watching the war, but I do check in every day because it concerns me very deeply, because it has ramifications and implications that affect everybody across the world. Everybody, either directly or indirectly. There's so many theories and concepts, like on the one side extreme, it's all planned out, it's a bunch of conspiracies, and it's all these demonic monstrosities of private institutions and secret groups that stage everything for their own benefit. Like, the way they profit and prosper in life is through extreme chaos and war, and then they take advantage of all the pillage, and then they collect everything for themselves, and they create, let's say, market conditions that provide astronomical profits for the perpetrators. Okay? So the obvious example is the price of oil. This Ukraine war, indirectly or directly, however you want to look at it, is directly correlated to the stratospheric rise in oil prices. Now you can say it's absolute parity. In other words, all of a sudden there's an extreme shortage. Or you can just say it's market manipulation. In the end, it's just like, well, it's probably a bit of both. But, a few months ago, just down the street here, gas was, petrol, or gasoline, or petroleum for your car was $3.50 a gallon. Now it's like $5.50. So that's almost like a 35% increase in 1 month. Now, I don't know about you, but that affects my personal pocket. There's a lot more going on, but the point I was trying to get at is that I'm kind of in shell shock, and I'm kind of in a state of semi-exhaustion because of just witnessing world events right now. And when I see all these dots connecting, like, the World Economic Forum, and the political parties in America, and all the collections of organizations in Europe and all the other countries, and then I start looking at the banking system and the new world order with CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and I see how it's all correlated and related together, as though it's orchestrated. It's like people are starting to say things, even on mainstream news now. The mainstream news, which I don't really trust, but where the bulk of Americans get their news, is ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, and a few others that I can't remember. Oh, there's Fox, that's still part of it, And some of the stuff that's being exposed is impossible to repress anymore. And so you get these mainstream media conglomerates that basically function sort of like propaganda machines for what I consider a communist elite that leans towards the left. Lucelia Jackie, okay. Okay, yeah, we'll get you reading. Thank you. And what's happening is that the things that are leaking, when there was that expression, we're going to drain the swamp, and over the last five years ago, that's when it started. And then we had a new administration about a year ago. And it became extremely obvious that not only was the swamp drained in American business and American politics, when you drain the swamp creatures are exposed. And that became kind of like a cliche catchphrase, over the last year. Oh, we're going to drain the swamp. And then people started to realize that's not a joke. And when they drained the swamp, they could actually see the swamp creatures that were living behind these facades and these illusions of piety, these illusions of self-righteousness and political correctness and social engineering according to certain technocratic I think it's just insanity, personally. And then, so it's starting to happen. And you're starting to see these bizarre stories coming out now concerning certain very prominent people, typically associated with what we call the left over here in America. And the squalor that's going on is being exposed, and it can't be suppressed. Even with the best efforts of the mainstream media, they cannot suppress the squalor of these so-called swamp creatures. And so they're having to report on this stuff. And so they're doing it. And they're trying to spin their reports in such a way that, well, this was inevitable because of what happened 3 or 4 years ago when we had this fellow Donald in charge and he triggered all these horrible things to happen. It's no wonder, we're talking about what I think of insanity here. But anyway, nobody pays me to track stories and do the homework that I do. I just do it because I like doing it for my own education and try to expand my awareness and understanding, and so that I can navigate through life hopefully in the most joyful ways possible. Now, there are people who do it professionally. They're making a lot of money, like they are on mainstream news, or they have huge YouTube channels or something, and they're very, very popular. They collected a lot of revenue, and they will spend 40, 50 hours a week on their channel, like what I used to do. I don't do that so much now, and you've probably noticed. But anyway, you can reach a point of exhaustion where you just can't take it anymore. It's hard to understand the depth of criminality, the depth of corruption, the depth of emptiness. I was going to say the depth of evil, but really it's just the absence of love. And I learned something really simple and so profound when I was studying some of these like superpower groups that control the world through what they call this like pyramid of power. And the people are at the very, very top. And they're really just the same as you and me in so many ways. They want to be happy. They probably have family and pets. And they like vacations. They like their toys, their cars. They like to have money and good food. And they enjoy a lot of privileges and so on. And then there's the bulk of the people at the bottom of the pyramid, kind of which is where I inhabit in three-dimensional world. And you start looking up and you're wondering, like, how does this imbalance occur? And it's by design. And what happens is, well, how do those people by design get up there, and then how do they stay there? Well, it became very simple. After you dig further and further, they are willing to do things that you and I would never consider doing. So what are those things that they do? Well, they are willing to compromise their soul, in essence. For example, I've had multiple chances in my life to become extremely successful, in particular in music, and once or twice in TV and film. But in each case, the contracts were what I consider very egregious, where I would literally, it's like signing your soul away. And, people think of that as a cliche. But in a way, it's kind of true. Because some of these contracts, if you actually look at the fine print, these organizations that can offer fame, glory, money, and power in terms of like being a celebrity, like a movie star and everything like that. There has to be a core element of talent in the first place, which I had, and I still have, in order for it to work. But in order to get onto that global arena, that global stage, and be part of that, the pinnacle of power and glory and money and fame, well, some of the ones at the top are not famous and they don't want to be. They want to stay secret. But it is what I would say highly organized in such a way. And what they do is that they're willing to do things that certainly I wouldn't do. And so I didn't. And so here I am. I have my little YouTube channel. Well, it's not little, what it is. I have my YouTube channel. And I have my memories, and I still have my heart, and I still have my soul. I have a bit of resentment because, wow, it would have been so nice to have so much power and so much fame and so much money. Okay. But anyway, the point I was trying to get at is that to me there was a sense of exhaustion because I just see all this stuff unfolding. I've been tracking this stuff for years. I could see it back in January 2020 when, like, what I would call the bomb dropped. It was like, I would think it was like an invisible bomb. It's when we had Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto conjoined. And it was an extremely rare conjunction. And you could see that it was the beginning of a whole new world order. And that's what's happening. January, February, March. The bomb dropped. And then I would say the mushroom cloud, which was, or which still is, the so-called virus, became apparent on March 3rd, 2020. So that's 2 years ago. And we're still dealing with the tsunami aftershocks of that initial bomb, January 2020. I wrote about it very clearly in my book. Okay? Anyway, here we are today. And it's been amazing just to watch. I've been doing astrodoodles for quite a long time now, and you could see this pattern over and over and over and over again. Pluto in the high degrees of the 20s, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28. Okay, then it's going to be 29. We're right now on the 27, 28 degree mark, and the pressure is intense. And even though everything on the stage looks like, well, it's all about Europe and Ukraine, but you have to understand that, in a way, the war in Ukraine is a proxy war of the United States of America. It's like we are outsourcing some of our fights in such a way so that we don't have to have them here on American soil. And it's kind of a disgusting way to do business, but we've been doing it for the last 100 years, or the last 80 years since World War II. We do it very effectively. And it affects the whole of planet Earth. You can't get around it. Anyway, let me go to the astrodoodle, and then we'll start looking at the readings in a minute, okay? Lesieli, I hope I said that name correctly. I said it right. Oh, you put it on there. Lesieli. Okay, cool. Thank you. I do try. I've lived in a lot of different countries, and I've tried to speak different languages, but it never worked. I struggled enough with English. Thank you, Lesieli. And Laura H. Laura H. Okay. Wow, so we got a bunch of readings here. I've got Karen Clark. We've got a reading for Tina. Got a reading for Karen, Lesieli, and another one for Laura H. Okay. So let me go to the stage, and we will prepare your magic post-it notes. Then go from there. Okay? All right. We got Tina. Karen Clark. Alrighty, and then we have Leslie. There we are. And then we got another one lined up for Laura H. You got it, Laura H. There you go. All right. So, cheers, everybody. I just need to have a sip of water. Cheers. Okay, so I'm going to go to the Astrodoodle just for a few moments, okay? I need to make some room here. Hold on. I need to... Let's just shuffle this over here for a moment. And I'm going to put the ephemeris off to the side. We might need it later on. We'll see. So, to get back to kind of what I was going on about. Mariah. Hello, Mariah. Oh, Mariah is Karen's mom. Queen of Water over there in Melbourne, Australia. Greetings. So, here's today's Astrodoodle. You know, in a way, I should just do one every single day. Jennifer Frederick. Okay. Okay, Jennifer. Wow, I got a whole bunch of readings. I don't think I can take any more. I can't really take any more after this. Okay, Jennifer? Thank you so much. My voice doesn't hold out very well. That's the problem. Okay, we got you. There you go, Jennifer. I'll put you over here. Gonna make some room. So right now, okay, I see your notes there, Jennifer. We'll come back to them. So we'll probably do things in time order. Tina, Karen, Leslie, Laura, and Jennifer. So Jennifer, you might have to be very patient because sometimes I get really long-winded on these mini readings. I just can't help myself. But, you know, you can leave the show playing in the background and you'll hear your name. We'll announce your name to make sure that you are around when you get your reading. And if you do have to suddenly disappear for whatever, you'll still get your reading anyway, okay? And I'll just do your blind reading. Or, well, you've got notes, so we'll do that. But all right. Now, the thing that I've been watching closely is Mars, okay? Okay, here's Mars. Now, if you look at this very tight cluster here in Aquarius, this is where a lot of the action is right now. Here's the moon, here's Mars, here's Venus, and here's Saturn. Now, Saturn is in Aquarius, and you could say in simple terms, humanity is being tested. It's being severely and heavily tested. Also with Venus in Aquarius, our relationships and our ability to love in the Aquarian vibe is being tested. Mars is in Aquarius right now, testing everything. Mars in Aquarius is a very volatile energy. It's the energy of revolutionary freedom fighter, okay? That's on the positive expression. Fighting for freedom, making sure, protecting and defending our rights as human sovereign individuals in the community, for we the people. And the moon is here now, which is putting huge question marks on what does this all mean and how does this all feel. When you squish all this together, it's a massive collection of Aquarius energy. And the way I do astrology at this level, I just lump all this into one stellium, and I mark it all as one massive blob of very challenging energy, in contrast with Uranus. Okay? Uranus is the planet that rules the Aquarian theme over here. And Uranus is in Taurus right now. So it's very much about the status quo and power and global money. And so what's happening is we've got war, okay? It's almost like, well, the way I look at it is we are at war with ourselves and each other. Humanity is at war with itself. And we are seeing this play out on the stage in the war in Ukraine. That's the way I feel it. I feel as though Ukraine is the stage where we are able to witness in a way we've never been able to do this before, in real time, the way that news and war stories were broadcast and transmitted even 10 years ago. 10 years ago, certainly 15, 20 years ago, we did not have the communications that we have today. Today we have all that social media. There we are, all that Aquarian energy here. So what we're seeing is humanity is kind of at war with itself. Tina has Saturn 28 degrees Aquarius. Oh my gosh, so you might be feeling this extremely personally. You might be taking this war very personally. Anyway, it's a very, very hostile transit right now, having all this energy piled up almost against itself. So it's the way I see it is we're seeing these really like bizarre, extreme, highly volatile, highly unpredictable aspects of human behavior as depicted by Uranus. You can't fully predict Uranian energy. It's highly volatile, let's say unstable, combustible, and it's being challenged by Moon, Mars, Venus, and Saturn. And it's affecting everyone on Earth. It's almost like we're being forced to pick sides. And let me go back here just for a moment. Like when the whole thing started, it was very, very easy to, pick sides like I did. I am all for, hoping that, the thing works out for Ukraine and they can resolve this situation. But it's coming at the loss of a lot of blood. There are thousands of people dying. There's millions of refugees. This is the biggest, let's say, war crisis event since World War II. And it's interesting because it does spill out across the rest of the world in a way that cannot be retrieved. It's spilling into India, it's spilling into China, it's spilling into America, it's spilling into Africa, it's spilling into Canada, North America, Central America, South America. It's spilling into Southeast Asia. It affects everybody on Earth. And these large bodies and populations are essentially showing their true colors as population groups, and they're so-called choosing sides, okay? Let me just do this quickly. We've got so many readings tonight, I have to kind of save my voice for the readings. But if you look at this map, you see it like territories. Here's the actual battle over here in Ukraine, all right? It's interesting on the map how it looks like it's almost at the center of our geography. So the war is between here Russia, the so-called Russians, and the so-called Ukrainians. And the Ukrainians are right on the borderline between the so-called nasty Russian evil army and the good, wholesome, freedom-loving people on this side of the battle. And because in the attempts to fight the war, the president here is reaching out for help all over here. And the actual borderline between, let's say, East and West, or the bad guys and the good guys, is right here. And they're right on the borderline. And it's like we get to see both sides of the equation. If you are living inside Russia right now, the chances are you might be in favor of this war, because your perception of the world comes through the Russian media, which is a complete propaganda machine for Russia. If you're over here, or here, you probably see the war as being fought between the freedom-loving Ukrainians who want to be part of NATO, part of Europe, and free open market societies. And they don't want anything to do with the bad people. So I've picked a side. I'm on this side. I want things to work out for Ukraine. But for this war to continue, it's now dragging China into it indirectly, India, Africa, Western Europe, and you can't avoid it. It's not like they're all shooting guns at each other, but this war has a global impact, especially with the currencies, that's our money, and with the main commodities, that's oil and gas, wheat, and fertilizer, especially. Anyway, it's a very difficult problem. Tina, no, I didn't see that. Sorry. Oh, boy. Anyway, if you are in the United States, hello, Sarah, I see you. If you're in the United States, it wouldn't be surprising if you're grumbling about gasoline prices. If you're in Europe, you'd be grumbling about whether you're going to eat or whether you're going to get heat. Anyway, the winter's coming to a close soon in Europe, so it won't be such a problem. But in America, our whole economy is based on oil, when you really dig down into it. And when oil has gone up 35%, that makes you poor. Because almost everybody needs to use gasoline transportation in some way in their life. And so you end up in a situation where the gasoline price has gone up, so the oil companies are collecting vast amounts of increased revenue. Is it justified? Well, they can blame the war. They can blame the shortages. They can blame the cutback in supplies from Russia. They can blame all the Middle East turmoil that's happening right now as well. Tehran, Iran, all of that stuff. There's other wars going on. There's horrific stuff happening down in Myanmar and Burma. Disgusting stuff. But we're not seeing much news on that because it's all about Ukraine right now. But anyway, effectively, Americans are becoming much more poor, much more quickly. It's accelerating, and it will continue to accelerate. Wait until 2023. Wait until late 2022 when all the supply chain shocks actually affect the supermarket. We're only just seeing the beginning of the problem now. Anyway, I don't want to scare you, everybody. We're still lucky that we got food, water, electricity, internet, heating, cooling, gasoline. At least the gasoline is still flowing. Anyway, the wartime conditions, I'm sad to say, are probably going to continue for quite some time. Mars is grinding through Aquarius now, and then it's going to go through Pisces. I think that's going to be very, very disruptive when it comes to witnessing some of the globalized corruption that's now coming to the surface. I talked about that earlier with the swamp creatures that have now become exposed, and their stories are now going to be told in the mass media. Eventually, when Mars reaches Chiron over here, I think there's going to be an extreme amount of volatility as well. Perhaps in turning things like maybe the war conditions will end or start to unwind at that point. I don't really know. Or maybe it'll accelerate into a more globalized war. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's leave it at that. I'm not trying to be Russell Brand here. I'm very envious of his channel. He does very well for himself. But he's a professional comedian from a young age, and he's got all his agents and managers and everything like that. He's got 5.5 million subscribers. He's a very wealthy young lad. Okay. Here we go. So, we got Tina, Karen, Lesieli, Laura, and Jennifer. Tina, you're up. Tina, I'm going to look into that channel for that soldier because I'm very, very interesting. Yeah, exactly. Tina, we can't really blame the gas prices on the war. The gas prices, I think of a lot of it is just, let's say the oil companies are taking advantage of the situation. That's one way to look at it. Cheers, everybody. I'm going to pour myself a little beverage here. We're going to celebrate the fact that we can even do this show at all, and we can hang out with each other and find ways to keep the love flowing in our lives. All right, here we go. Let's have a look here. All right, Tina. It's very interesting that you got Saturn 28 degrees Aquarius, because that's getting close to where the Saturn is right now. Let me just double check that for you, just out of curiosity. Right now, Saturn is at 21 degrees. So it's going to be a good few months before Saturn gets to 28 degrees, okay? The moon in March kicked your butt. All right, let's have a look here, Tina. Let's see what's going on, okay? What kind of messages do we have here for Tina tonight? The whole idea with when we do these mini readings is to sort of allow ourselves to, get a glimpse behind the veil, where we can put some kind of understanding to, let's say, feelings or energies that are hard to define in three-dimensional ways without accessing what some people would call, like an occultish type of practice. Occult, dealing with mysteries and spirituality and angels and heaven. Hello, precious. Oh, yeah, I'll show you the astrodoodle here. You can always go rewind it. I'll show you this, precious. Here it is. There's a tremendous amount of pressure here in the Aquarius vibe. There's a big stellium here. All these planets in Aquarius in highly conflicted energy with Uranus and Taurus. And so besides the war in Ukraine, what's happening now is there's a tremendous pressure on the global financial system. It's kind of crumbling, and it's being reformatted, and it's bifurcating. It's being reformatted in two different directions. We can talk more about that another time. All right, Tina, let's see what's going on. When I get to your other readings here, I'll have to scroll back through the chat to get your notes, okay? Let's bless this deck, bless every single card, bless the cameras and the software, the whole channel, the electricity, the microphones, the lights, the cables, the internet, all the softwares, all of that stuff, so that we can even do this at all. It's a miracle. I feel so privileged. All right, Tina. Some of you are aware that Tina is a very big-hearted, generous person. She's got her puppy, 6-month-old puppy, who's a German Shepherd, who's probably very big by now. And apparently Ava is a bit of an alpha dog. All right, deck is shuffled. Let's go for it. Here we go. I'm going to split this very nicely and evenly to get things rolling here. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And then we're going to kind of get a glimpse of the external influences. I think of that mostly to do with the transiting planets. Some of you might know I call this my situational spread. It's very, very similar to what they do in an auto tech shop, or when they're doing a smog test on your car. There's a little thing where they just plug it in under your dashboard, and it goes into a computer, and that computer tells you everything that's going on inside your car, what's working and what's not working, okay? So it's like a diagnostic tool. So it's very, very neutral. In a way, there's nothing, you don't have to be religious to do this or anything like that. You don't have to pray to a god. You don't have to, take DMT or ecstasy or weed to do this stuff. You don't have to, go to a rainforest to do this, or you don't have to be a vegetarian to do this. This is just a very, very neutral thing. There's no judgment here with this little spread. It's just a diagnostic tool. It just looks at the situation. That's all it is. Okay. It's just that sometimes it's very obscure until you get like a little mini reading like we do here. So anyway, here we go, Tina. Okay, we've got the 5 of Swords. I think this is very much to do with the planetary influences out there right now. I don't think this is personal in any way. It might feel like, well, maybe you are being impacted. Maybe there are some external situations where you might be feeling pressured by others or someone or something to comply to a certain, let's say, I don't know how to do this. How can I explain this? Like bow down to a dictator or a form of speech or a way of being or a code of conduct where it's nothing to do with self-respect or there's no energy of respect in that at all. So with the 5 of Swords, my feeling is that it's really important for you to be aware that outside of you there are conditions and circumstances which would translate into lose-lose dynamics. Like if you get... like I try to be really careful on the channel so I do make mistakes because I do eventually reveal my nature, which tends to have a certain way about it. But with the 5 of Swords, to me, it makes me feel like you don't want to get sucked into any kind of conversation or encounter or an agreement or an environment where you could just very innocently open yourself up and your natural nature, like your belief systems, your core heart center is exposed. And then, for some reason or whatever, it is received as though it's like a jarring energy, where basically it's not well received in such a way that your energy would be countered. And then you end up like in a lose-lose situation, because you're just being you. And other people are just being themselves, and other environments and situations they're just being what they are. And sometimes they just clash. And when situations clash, it can be very, very tempting to get sucked into the clash in order to protect yourself or your belief systems or your heart or your soul or whatever it is. And then you realize, oh my God, I took the bait. Because these are situations or dynamics that you can't win. Like if you say one thing in perfect honesty and what you might consider and believe perfect truth, universal truth, it could be questioned. Even though you know it's nonsense to be questioned. And so all I'm suggesting is, like with the Five of Swords, be very careful so as you're not a victim of circumstance, so that you're not a victim of just, let's say you're very comfortable where you are, for example, and you just calmly, casually display your natural energy, but it doesn't quite jive with someone else. And that someone else or that other entity decides to make it their business to counter you. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, I wasn't looking for a fight or anything. Okay, I'm just saying be very, very... There's no point in trying to be careful. You just be you. But if you end up in a situation where, like, you end up in a state of futile argument or communications, friends, family, local community, whatever it is, just be aware. And if you sense that, withdraw immediately. Just don't take the bait. Just stay out of it, because otherwise you just fall into a state of trap or conflict where it's you can't win, and there's nothing to win. So it's not even any point. So just be aware, okay? Like someone might have very different political or societal views to you, and it comes up in a casual conversation, and it really triggers your beliefs. And if that trigger is activated, it could lead into a situation where you regret the interaction in the first place. Okay, what's the situation? So this is just sort of like a warning light, okay? What's the situation itself? Okay, well, this is a very different energy with the Three of Cups. So my feeling is that your reality is very, I would say, pure and warm at the very, very core. And my feeling is that in some ways you're starting to enjoy the benefits of having followed your heart, and shared your love, and you start to see what happens. Like, because I talk about it a lot on this channel. It's just like routine. It's just like be loving, be loved. And it actually works. It might not be immediate, but my feeling here is that, like, if you just blink for 1 second, just ding, you can start to see your world in such a way that, wow, I planted seeds of love 3 months ago, 6 months ago, 6 days ago, maybe 6 years ago, okay? And you're starting to realize, oh my God, that has sprouted, that turned into something good for me. Whether it was a career decision, a location decision, a relationship decision, and you realize, like, wow, I actually made a good decision, where I can witness it inside myself that be loving, be loved is an actual genuine formula. Okay, it works, and it's something. It is truly something to celebrate. In fact, in your life, in your world and community, I'm not saying here with this channel because we're all very remote by distance, but if you're in a situation, Tina, where in your new location you're starting to make connections that feel good to you at the heart center of you, it might be an idea to pursue them. These are highly contradictory energies here. In other words, you might be in your situation, you might be starting to sense wow, there are certain types out here. I can hang out with these types and I definitely need to stay away from those types. So you get to know your peeps. You might be discovering, when you first arrive somewhere, you don't really know the territory or the people or the community or the culture. But what I'm sensing is that things are starting to make sense for you now, where you can see what works for you, where you can experience in real time the phenomenon of being loving and being loved, and then realizing that includes staying well clear of events or situations or people or circumstances where this does not exist. Oops. Stay in this energy at all times, if possible. I'm not saying get drunk and party all the time. Cheers, by the way. Cha-ching. Thank you, Tina. Okay, what's the problem? Okay. To me, it feels like part of you can't help yourself, Tina. You have you're a natural born compassion junkie. You just can't help yourself extending your heart energy for caring. Most people on this channel know that you are a professional or spent your career as a professional caregiver in very intense conditions. And now you're in a new chapter in life. But you have this natural intense drive to share that energy. It's almost fierce, okay? And I believe that you still have that drive, but it's a question of how am I going to go forward about this? Because I don't really have a clue I'm not saying you don't have a clue, but you remember last week, or was it the week before, when the Ukraine war was really, really bubbling up, and there was so much news of tragedy and pain and suffering, and you were wondering, how can I go help those people? What can I possibly do? How can I help people? You can't help yourself, okay? Right now, it's really important to help yourself, love thyself, and enjoy the self in a closed environment. And then, but the problem is that kind of goes against your nature, because you have this very strong, outgoing nature to literally bring the love to the people. You made it your business. I mean, being an ICU nurse is very, very intense, and it does require tremendous compassion and self-sacrifice, because you're in a state of chronic stress. So the cortisol is flowing all the time, and that just becomes your standard way of being. It's like you're a warrior, and so what does a warrior do when there's no war to fight? When you've retreated, no, you're not retreated, but you're sort of retiring from the battlefront, you still have this deep drive inside of you, and the question is, well, where am I going to direct that energy now? Because you still have that immense drive to literally deliver love as though it is a form of medicine. Like, how can I administer? How can I actually do my job to be an administrator and to be that person, that ICU nurse, in a new reformatted version, when there is not actually a formal definition of that job? It's hard to do remote healing from Montana to folks in Ukraine, for example. I remember you also talked a while ago about like, wow, I think I need to get back to work again. And I think that's kind of what this is here. This is not a Pentacles card about physical reality, but it could be like you're feeling like this challenge, like I still have this primal drive to care. And when you don't have a formalized outlet for that in what some people would call a job, that can be frustrating, because where are you going to put all this love? Okay, let's have a look. How do we go forward from this? Okay, this is going to sound like an odd interpretation, okay, for the Ten of Pentacles. This is a card of extreme abundance, okay? And it sounds like, this almost feels like, I'm just going to try and, you said you want the truth, okay? What it feels like is that I'm actually like, the guy in the auto tech shop. You came in for a diagnostics, okay? We plugged in the little thing onto the dashboard. The computer comes up with a reading, and the reading basically comes out and says, you know what? Everything's fine. There's the Ten of Pentacles. Tina, you're fine. Your life is fine. Your life is good. In fact, it's remarkable, okay? There's a lot of abundance. How do you measure abundance is a very personal, subjective thing, but it's about understanding and recognizing your wealth and your abundance. And that you deserve this, and that you've worked for this. It's almost like looking at a retirement package and realizing, like, because you know what happens, Tina. The thing is, my feeling is that you might be at a point in life where you've kind of officially pulled yourself back from the front lines of professional caregiving, which is extremely demanding, okay? And being in a new position now where it's more about what's good for me, at the heart and soul of me, and what can happen with people who are, who've spent their working life in the front lines of combat type situations. They don't know what to do with themselves. That they're used to being extremely stressed and challenged, and the cortisol flowing. And then, so what am I supposed to do now? And it's very, very hard. It's almost like, pretend I'm the auto tech guy. I've got my badge on and it says TL and TL Auto Services. And I look at you. Pretend we're actually literally in the room together, and I don't know what to tell you, Tina. It's just like, you're just lucky. Enjoy your life. You have so much. You're actually extremely fortunate, and just enjoy it. It's the same as me saying, you know what, Tina, your car is fine. It's got a certain amount of miles, but otherwise things are good. You can just enjoy it for what it is. It doesn't mean you have to find. It's almost like saying, enjoy the abundance, enjoy the retirement, enjoy this new chapter of life where you don't actually have to be on the front lines battlefield. You don't have to be compelled to care. That might sound strange. And let's pretend again like I'm the auto tech guy, and I say, listen, you know what, Tina, I'm going to knock off my shift here in a minute. It's like 6 o'clock at night. It's been a busy day. I'm going to take off my overalls. I'm a local. You're a local now. Have you ever hung out at so-and-so's place, or, so-and-so's fish and chips, or so-and-so's surf and turf, or so-and-so's lobster place, or so-and-so's coffee, or so-and-so's ice cream place? I'm a local too. We'll meet up, and we'll just hang out and talk about, snow, or our families, or something like that. So you just enjoy your life. Enjoy the bounty. Celebrate. Yes, there's still really bad things going on out there. Horrific things. And it would be so easy to take the bait and get drawn back in. But you don't have to. It's actually, in a way, it's a very sweet reading. That's the way I look at it, Tina. It's almost like I'm putting my hand on your shoulder going, Tina, it's okay. It's okay to feel good. You don't have to prime the pump to feel good by having expended huge amounts of compassion and love to save somebody or rescue somebody. It's okay to feel good just to feel good. It's okay. There's no shame. There's no guilt. You don't have to apologize. You don't have to pay somebody or anything like that. You can just enjoy the bounty, the extreme good fortune. He just might not be used to it, that's all. Or he might be still getting used to it. Thank you, Tina. I hope that helps you. Just, yeah. When I think about it here, don't take the bait. It could almost indicate that if you are tempted to really jump back in the front lines, where, I don't know, you're bound to encounter a lot of challenges and hostilities in some way or whatever, you don't necessarily have to do that. It might be... I'm going to shut up now. I've given you a reading. That's good. That's good enough, okay? Karen, what's up? Let's have a look. I'm just going to scroll back through the chat briefly. It's been very quiet. So I'm just going to see if Karen had any notes for me. I'd love a reading, please. Okay, that's fine. We'll just do that. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, by the way, Tina, Precious Moments has probably already moved on. She said she couldn't stay long. It's probably because her phone is running out of battery. We did this a couple weeks ago. I've had a couple of chats with Precious by email off to the side. I'm doing what I can to help, but I don't feel very effective. Precious, as you know, she's up there in Edmonton, Canada, and the landlord on her property really let her down, and Precious is now staying in a shelter with her kids, her 3 kids, 3 young kids, and one of them is pretty disabled because of a nasty car crash. And so Precious is really, really like on a knife edge right now. If anybody feels generous and wants to help out, Precious, if you're still there, Precious, can you type out your email? Maybe somebody can connect with you and send you some PayPal money, something like that. I don't know what to do right now because I'm not in the strongest position myself. Anyway, I just wanted to let everybody know that Precious needs help. She really seriously needs help, and that basically means money, donations, because she has to survive and feed the kids. It's probably going to be months now because she was released from work because of the virus mandates, and she's a full-on professional nurse, okay? And then to be stuck unable to feed the kids or house the kids, that's a very serious problem. So if anybody feels like you're really rich and generous and you want to send money, we'll figure it out. Precious, if you're still here, type your email onto the screen. Maybe someone will send you some money by PayPal, okay? All right, let's go over here. Karen, I don't see any notes, so we're just going to go right into it. So everybody, in case you don't know, Karen has found the channel a while ago. Karen is over here in beautiful New Zealand. And I've been extremely lucky myself to visit New Zealand 3 times now. It's the most, I don't know what to say. I would love to be there now. I don't think of it as a holiday resort place. To me, it felt like home. I don't know if I'll ever get to be there as a home, but I love being there, and I have good friends there now, really good friends. And I'm over here, okay? It's a long way from here to here, as you can see. And with gasoline prices and jet fuel prices, yeah. Karen Clark, representing New Zealand this evening. Let's see, what kind of messages do we have for you? So some of you know that Karen Clark is very artistic, and she's also a businesswoman, entrepreneur in her community, and she is recognized for representing some of the artworks of the Maori culture in New Zealand. And she also has connections with some of the top New Zealand arts community people way up in the north in Auckland. And it's a difficult thing politically, because Karen is very independently minded and a very shrewd business person and is full of good ideas. But sometimes when you get into these political communities, you get stuck in the mud. And so Karen has a bit of a history of being stuck in the mud with these other art community, social leaders. And what's wrong with just having an art community and doing what's good and what's successful and what works? But sometimes communities get sucked up into their own energy of, who's the boss, who's in charge, who's going to be second in charge, and what's the social agenda here. Oh, and then you get really stuck in the mud. Anyway, Karen, let's give you a little reading. Karen has a very full family as well. She's got family in her town. She lives very close to the ocean, down there on the North Island. And her mom, I see the notes there. General reading, please. Yes, Karen, we'll do that. And Karen's mom is here tonight. That's Mariah. Okay, she was up here on the chat earlier. Good evening, Mariah. Okie dokie. I know from having visited New Zealand several times that there is a well-recognized kind of a gypsy culture that goes on in New Zealand. There are these troops of gypsy caravans and traveling fairs that go all over New Zealand. And they have kind of a historical significance, and they stop at all the major towns and they stay there for a few days or more, and you can get tarot readings, astrology readings, crystals, jewelry, incense, arts, craft, garments, beautiful artwork. There's music and celebration. It's kind of like being at a beautiful gypsy fair. I just wanted to mention that. I remember because when I was in New Zealand, I visited a couple of these fairs, and it gave me these very sort of oldie worldy, old-fashioned nostalgic feelings for what life must have been like before things like, automobiles or electricity, because everything felt very kind of rustic and oldie worldy and very, that trendy word, artisanal. Like home-baked cookies, home-brewed beer, homemade wines, homemade foods, and so on. All these things. Sort of like you would find at a really, really high-quality farmer's market, but with all the entertainment. Can you imagine that? And then you see the gypsy caravans. They're beautiful. All right, Karen, let's see what's going on. Let's have a look here. Okie dokie. I think we're pretty well shuffled here. As you know, I don't do any reversals, jumpers, flyers, or anything. I like to keep it really simple because it's hard enough to do as it is when it's just in its simplest forms. Okay, I'm just going to really cut it up. Okay, Karen, so we have a nice pristine deck for you. Here's the situation, here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle it. Who knows what's going to come up? Now, we're going to reference this card to the external influences like I often do. I refer to the planets. So we've got the 10 of Pentacles. So to me, this feels just like the energy that would come from, I don't know, the only way I can describe it is like this. You blink. There's what you saw before the blink, and there's what you saw after the blink. And what I'm sensing with the 10 of Pentacles for you, Karen, is that in the blink of an eye, it's possible to change your perspective or view your whole world, your family, your business, your career, your relationships, the art community, the town, your natural resources, your savings, or your chance for, what are you going to do later in life when it's time to retire, and all of those things. And when I see the 10 of Pentacles, it's almost like blink once, open your eyes, and please be aware of everything that is absent. That is not the 10 of Pentacles, okay? And there are probably about 2.5 or 3.5 billion people right now who live in extreme poverty. And what I mean by that is no shoes half of the time, contaminated water, contaminated air, contaminated food, contaminated land, contaminated crops, contaminated politics, contaminated finances and politics. Is just tragic. Part of it is just perfectly natural. When you have a population that grows and 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 grows without anything to stop it, eventually there's going to be some decay, okay? And it's just like what happens in a forest, okay? What we see as the forest is this beautiful, rich, abundant, green, luscious, vibrant thing called the forest, okay? Like, think of the Canadian northern wilderness and the Russian northern wilderness or the Amazon jungle. It's extremely rich. It's extremely abundant. But you have to understand, just below the canopy and going deeper down, there's a tremendous amount of death and decay, which turns into fertilizer and new growth, okay? And that's all happening simultaneously. So when I see the 10 of Pentacles here, in your situation, Karen, it's on the understanding that there is tremendous abundance. You are living a life of abundance right now. Physical, material abundance. But it's also very important to be aware that there are those who do not have what you have. There might be some aspects of your life where you feel like, wow, I'm at the very bottom end of society. Life sucks. I've only got enough money to get through the next 3 months. What's happening with gasoline prices in New Zealand? If you think it's bad in America, wait till you see gasoline prices in New Zealand. Okay? It's even worse than Western Europe, and so on and so on. So it would be very easy to get sucked into the poverty complex. So when I see the Ten of Pentacles here, it's just literally remember, you are abundant. You are in a state of abundance. Okay? You really, really are, Karen. You have natural born talents and gifts, and you have all the other stuff as well. Now, let's have a look. So that's just external energy. You just need to be aware of that, okay? Let's see, what's the situation itself? Okay, so Karen, some of you know, some of the people on the channel who come here regularly, they know you. They know that you've had your ups and downs in businesses, and you keep your business going, and you're kind of like a local pillar of the community in your area, keeping the business going. And then there's this other broader thing that goes on in your life, in your world, that you've shared with me about how things could be better. Let's put it that way. Let's say if you really did have this really rich, luscious, rewarding relationship with those bigger, more far-reaching arts community leaders up in the big cities, then things could be better for you. It could be better for them. But what I'm feeling here is that you've reached this point of, it's not exhaustion, but kind of a stagnation where, like, wow, when your success is unavoidably contingent upon, let's say, others, and you also know that your relationships with others, the community, arts, friends, family, whatever, is not 100% ideal, and you've been working to get things as best as you can, and then you start to realize, like, oh my God, I've already done everything I can. And then you reach this point of, it's not hopelessness, but you get to a point where, wow, I really am doing the best that I can. I really have done the best that I can. So how on earth am I going to make the best of life going forward? How am I going to do that? And then, to me, it makes me feel like, wow, I'm Karen Clark. I'm looking in the mirror. I'm realizing without realizing it, I have outsourced my expectations for happiness and success and future prosperity to an external influence like that arts leaders group or whatever it is, or certain expectations. And then when those expectations don't work out, you can be left feeling like, well, how on earth am I supposed to get my act together if they can't get their act together? And then I'm hoping that you can see there's kind of a fatal flaw in that way of thinking or feeling or being, because in a way your whole life is your responsibility, and how it works out is ultimately up to you. In other words, if you wanted to, you could make radical decisions and take actions that would go against, let's say, the society or the groups or whatever, and then you could perhaps reconfigure or reactivate your life in such a way where, wow, I actually could get it together and go forward in a way that works, that is effective. And in a way you can do that, or you could do that if you wanted to. But my feeling is that there's a big question mark hanging around the Chariot here, where it's like, wow, there's a little bit of this. I'm just going to be really frank here, okay, Karen? My feeling is there's a little bit of this like, wow, I'm damned if I do something, I'm damned if I don't. In other words, if you insist, if you personally insist on maintaining this like camaraderie with the greater community in such a way where you're trying to take everybody's point into consideration and do what's best for everybody, not just yourself, in some ways you are shackling yourself or binding yourself to external influences that are really not necessarily any of your business, or that you're not any of their business, even though it might look that way. And the second thing is that there might be a sense of guilt or like a sense of fear, like, well, what happens if I just literally do what I want? If I just take charge, if I take lead, and I do what I know is right for me. Wow. Then you get back to that New Zealand tall poppy syndrome. Oh, that Karen Clark lady, she's got too big for her boots. She thinks she can do whatever she wants. She doesn't even have to consult us or ask permission or anything. Who does she think she is? And of course, nobody wants to put up with that kind of stuff, because in New Zealand, people are very, very kind and typically very kind, and I would say socially very considerate. And so the whole idea of Karen Clark going like, oh, you know what? I'm going to do what's right for me. Excuse me if you don't mind. And that's why I'm sensing a question mark here with the Chariot energy for you, Karen. It's like the whole idea of just literally, you know what? I'm just going to do what's right for me. I'm getting myself organized, geared up, and we're just going to do that. And then you kind of go, ooh, wait a minute. I can't do that because I will be like stigmatized in society. That's Karen Clark. We have excommunicated her from society because she thinks she can do whatever she wants and be who she really is. Oh, well, you can, okay? Anyway, so we have to be we have to be a little bit diplomatically careful here, okay, Karen? Because I'm feeling the energy quite strongly, and it might be quite uncomfortable. All right, what's the challenges here? Okay, to me it feels like, oh my God, it's the same freaking story over and over and over and over again. I'm sick of it. I can't stand it. And then you can come to this realization like, oh my God, you know how fear feeds on itself? It's like, oh my God, it just gets worse and worse and worse. And then you realize, oh my God, I'm actually creating my own nightmares. Oh no! How do you stop that? Oh no! God damn. Okay, what's the solution? Let's go forward here. Okay, so we do have, I would call it the Hope card, Star card. It's a very strong energy of Aquarian energy. Let's look at the big fat Aquarius stellium. You've got Saturn, Venus, Mars, and Moon there. Right now, tonight, today, and good afternoon for you on Monday. Well, good morning for you on Monday. So, Karen, the way forward is, to me it feels like, with these three cards in the reading here, it's kind of like we're restating the obvious. It is the same story over and over again. You're stuck in a feedback loop where you know you have the gifts, the resources, the bounty, the talent, the abilities, and it's all measurable. You've got a lot of things that other people don't have. Okay, we talked about that earlier. But my feeling is here, you might feel stuck, because how am I supposed to go forward in a way that's socially acceptable, like in a very like Libra, compromising, balanced way? Libra in Aquarius, having perfect harmony in the community. And then Mars in Aquarius going like, you know what, screw that. And so you end up trapped in this nightmare. Oh my God, I'm just trying to do the right thing. And it just goes back and forth like a negative feedback loop. I keep getting stuck because I'm trying to satisfy groups and concepts and theories and people and belief systems where there's really, the evidence already shows that it's not really viable. And so you have to break away from that. My feeling is it's about breaking away and trusting in being guided and protected, and that somebody in New Zealand has to symbolize the energy of being a bit of a rebel, and that it's okay to defy the tall poppy syndrome every now and again. Someone has to do it. Okay, so Karen, what I'm sensing here with the star card is the way forward is like, you know what? Oh, it's just like the only way forward is to sort of take these blind leaps into blind faith, blind trust that you're okay, that you're going to be okay, and that you can't please everybody all the time. Okay? And so ultimately, you have to do what's right for you. It doesn't mean in the most selfish, mean, greedy, grab kind of way. It just means in a way that is purely and authentically you. And instead of perhaps having to comply with society's, expectations or demands. And so you go forward, kind of like taking a leap into the unknown, trusting and hoping. Okay? Hope and trust are kind of words that indicate that you've decided to believe that things are okay, or that they're going to be okay, even when there's no evidence and no proof. So that means having to be a little bit rebellious. So take advantage of the Mars and Aquarius energy. Give yourself permission to be a bit of a rebel, to just frickin' go out there. You know what? Screw it. I'm sick of being polite and diplomatic. I'm just going to be Karen. I'm going to be the best Karen that I can be. And I'm not going to apologize for being Karen. I'm just going to do that. If you can't handle it, that's your problem. And I'm sorry if I'm outspoken. And I'm sorry if I've broken the code of tall poppy. Sorry. And then everyone else was like, whoa, who does she think she is? Huh? Wow, I wish I could do that. Whoa. Whoa. Okay. All right. Thanks, Karen. I hope that helps you. I think what we're talking about is taking leaps and trusting and being brave, taking the courage to move forward, putting aside politics and society and all of that stuff. Lesieli, you're up. After that, it's Laura H. After that, it's Jennifer Frederick. All right, I'm going to put these all together. We got to keep rolling, folks. We still have 3 more readings. So if it's not your turn and you got stuff to do, go ahead and come back in a little while. No problems, okay? All right, let's have a look here. Thanks for coming to hang out with us tonight, precious. I know you're on a shoestring over there. I know things are very precarious for you. I'm hoping you get something out of tonight where you feel a little bit of light relief like it's not the end of the world. You still got your buddies. You still got your mates over here on the Tarot Lumination channel. And even if we can't send thousands of dollars to you right now, at least we're hanging out, you know. We got to figure out something, okay? I don't know what to do. All right, let's have a look. Lesieli. Now, I'm going to scroll back to the chat. I got to see Lesieli's notes. Okay, let me go up here. I wanted to know how love will be for me. I'm a Leo moon. I'm a Leo. My moon is Taurus. My crush is a Taurus. Oh, okay. So, Lesieli, you're a Leo. So Leo's sun. So right now, okay, let me just do a quick tiny doodle here for you on a solar chart, okay? Actually, let me get a whole new pad. It'll be easier. Just give me a sec. Lesieli, I'm just going to do something really quick here, okay? I'm just going to do a mini solar chart. Now, you won't find this on a computer anywhere. I'm sorry. So, Lesieli has the sun in Leo. So I'm going to make that a solar chart. I'm going to put Leo over here. And her moon is in Taurus. Okay. Leo sun. Taurus moon. Okay, so in Western astrology, in really simplistic terms, this is a square. Your moon is squared to your sun. I'm not going to go into whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, but in terms of the astrology, it's a roughly like a 90-degree thing, which by definition is quite stressful. Now, it doesn't mean you're going to have a bad life or your love sucks or anything like that. Your love interest is a Taurus. Let's say it's a Taurus sun. So your love interest is lighting up this part of your life here. Okay? Okay? So, because his sun, the crush, okay, their sun is lighting up your moon. So that's a very kind of traditional male-female romantic kind of aspect in terms of astrology. It's happening at your lunar self, at the feminine level, okay? And it's very easy to see how you might be attracted to this person or how this person might be attracted to you. Because having that kind of connection, the sun-moon connection like that, even though this is what's called a conjunction. Their sun is conjoined by sign with your moon. So that's a strong like romantic connection. Now here's the other thing. Their sun is by definition in square with your sun. So the relationship itself is what I call a sun square sun relationship. Technically, that's very challenging. Anytime you have a square, it's challenging by definition. But guess what? Most of the growth happens through the squares. When you have an opposition, okay, let's say, Leslie, that you had an Aquarius interest, okay? If you had an opposition, that's where you could have the most opportunity, the most growth, the most advantage, but also the most potential risk, okay? You do not have that. However, for you right now on a solar chart with your Leo sun is now being opposed by Saturn, Venus, Mars, and the moon in Aquarius, okay? Now, this is the transit that's happening right now. This transit is happening right now, and this is the relationship dynamic that we're talking about, okay? So, it doesn't surprise me that you're getting a mini reading here tonight regarding this relationship, because it's a very natural relationship because of this. To me, it feels a very natural, strong relationship. However, it's also Sun square Sun. So by definition, it is challenging. This is a fixed sign. You are a fixed sign. So you could have many situations where you would like butt heads or clash, okay? However, this could also be a strong, high degree of attraction, okay? Because sometimes when a person wants to grow and evolve, or when a person wants to grow and evolve, they can only do that when they can interact with someone else who's willing to interact with them in order to face the conflicts and the things inside of themselves that they cannot do without the participation of a loving, willing participant. So by definition, now the reason I'm mentioning all this stuff, Lesieli, is because it's not uncommon to see Sun square Sun relationships. They are always challenging. Always. However, there can be tremendous growth in there. Now, this transit here, all these planets in Aquarius are testing your Leo Sun energy. So it's very, very much about relationships. And so the energy, the subject of relationships is very, very important for you right now. And it's good that you're examining this thing. There is a lot of challenges. There's potential for love, potential for passion, potential for, I would say, romance. All of it. So to me, it looks like a highly charged type of love situation. Whether it manifests in any significant way beyond a crush, we don't know yet. So let's have a look at the reading. Let's see. I'm not going to do a love spread. I'm just going to do my same old diagnostics, okay? Okay. All right, let's have a look. I got to go over here. Give me a second. Oh my God, some more people. Stephanie Vaughn, hello, greetings. Hello, Nikki, greetings. All right, Lesieli. Oh, by the way, Lesieli, would you be willing to just, if you could type it on the screen here, let us know your geography. Are you in Turkey? Are you in the Middle East? Are you somewhere in Africa? Or where are you? Are you in Europe? Please, could you let us know? I love to know the geography, okay? All right, let's have a look. Oh, for Precious. Oh my gosh, Tina, you're really making me work tonight, aren't you? Whew. That's it. No more readings, people. I can't take it. I can't take it anymore. I can't take it anymore. There you go. All right. Let's hit it. Thank you, Tina. You're very, very kind. Very, very kind. Hold on, my cards are all messed up. Oh, my cards are all messed up. I think something went back and forth. I guess we're okay. What was I thinking? Okay, we'll figure it out. Anyway, I'm just going to shuffle it up. You're in the USA, Salt Lake City. Okay. Got it. I'll just show everybody on the map, okay? Salt Lake City, that's up there in Utah. Okay, I asked and Lesieli replied. Lesieli is over here in Salt Lake City. Okay? I'm over here in Las Vegas right now. So we're actually pretty close. Well, that's hundreds. That's a lot of miles. But anyway, yeah, America's a big place. Thank you, Lesieli. Okay? You're from California. Okay, cool. I'm kind of a California, Los Angeles, Venice Beach refugee myself. I've been living in Las Vegas for at least a year and a half now. I had to get away from Los Angeles. I love it there, but I can't be there with the politics and the finances. It's insanity. California has gone absolutely berserk. All right, let's have a look. So we're going to examine this love situation, okay? We're not going to put it under a microscope. We're just going to have, let's say, an overview. We're going to get some perspective here, okay? Actually, I should put Precious after here. Precious after there. Okay, let's do it this way because I'm going to do otherwise I'll forget. Okay, we got it. All right, there we go. Give me one more round. Hold on. All right, let's have a look. See what's going on. Oh, Karen, by the way, thank you. I'm glad you got something out of the reading. Orange County, California. It's almost like a separate place south of Los Angeles. All right, Lesieli, here we go. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. Now, in theory, this reading is about the love situation with this Taurus person, okay? We'll see what happens, okay? I'm not gonna preempt anything here. Okay, I've got the Five of Swords again. My feeling here is that the Five of Swords is already indicating the potential for a lose-lose situation. Okay? I'm not trying to condemn the relationship. All I'm suggesting is that you have to be very, very careful because people are attracted to each other for so many different reasons. And when I tried to illustrate your situation here, to me it was very clear when you put your notes that we're dealing with a challenging situation. First of all, you've got all these planets, Saturn, Venus, Mars, and Moon, transiting your 7th house of primary relationships right now. This isn't just the energy of a crush. we're talking about the potential for a serious relationship. It's also called a house of marriage. It's also called a house of open enemies. As you probably know, marriage is great when it works, but when it doesn't work, it's one of the worst things that could ever happen in your life. So you've got to be aware of that. So there is the potential. You've got to be very, very careful where, let's say you have this crush on the Taurus person, and the Taurus person has perhaps a crush on you too, and something happens. It is inevitable that you will have, let's say, some conflicting energies. It's inevitable. It's going to happen. Simply, it's very obvious to me here with the astrology. Sun square sun. Fixed sign squared to fixed sign. In other words, it could end up as a very obstinate, unwinnable situation like, I refuse to change to accommodate you. And then they say, you know what? I refuse to change to accommodate you. Well, wait a minute. I'm really attracted to you. Well, wait a minute. I'm actually really attracted to you. So what's the problem? Well, let's talk about that. Oh, so you want to talk about that. And it ends up in a situation where you are inevitably going to encounter sun square sun energy, okay? That's what this represents here. I'm not saying don't have the relationship. All I'm suggesting is that at some point, if the relationship continues to grow and move forward, eventually you will encounter each other's differences, okay? And you or the other person may be very resistant to change or compromise, okay? You want to hold your ground, they might want to hold their ground, okay? So please be aware, okay? What's the situation itself? Now, this isn't the relationship. All I'm suggesting here, Les Yeli, is that with the Five of Swords out there, this is more to do with the planets and everything that I just talked about, where as an astrologer, I mean, I've done thousands of readings for people. I still consider myself an amateur, but, you know, people pay me to do this stuff. All I can tell you is that at some point, you will encounter friction or conflict, okay? Simply because that's how it is. Okay. Doesn't mean you don't have to love each other, okay? But there would be some moments where there would be very unreconcilable differences, okay? It might be religion, culture, sexual expectations, financial expectations, romantic expectations, career expectations, location expectations, whatever it is. What's the situation itself? Okay, good, okay. So with the Five of Wands here, to me this is very encouraging, okay? Les Yeli, with the Five of Wands, what I'm sensing here is do not hold back. Allow yourself to feel the romance, the crush, the passion. Allow that passion, romance, crush to come to you. Give yourself permission to encounter what you need to encounter, because inevitably you will grow stronger from this. And the chances are the other person will grow stronger from this too. But this is your reading about you. So with the Five of Wands here, I know this is going to sound very contradictory, but this might be a very important relationship for you in terms of a learning experience. It's where you could really grow and strengthen yourself as a person, okay? Especially if you are truly attracted to each other and you really desire to be in each other's company. All I'm suggesting here with the Five of Swords is that Don't stop this happening just because I told you all those scary things over here. Please give yourself permission to live your life and enjoy your life and grow from this. It's a tremendous learning opportunity. Now, sometimes I categorize relationships. Is it a learning relationship? Is it a karmic relationship? Is it a loving relationship for marriage, home, kids, family, and all things like that? Is it a hostile relationship? Is it a abusive relationship? There are all sorts of categories of relationship. This could be potentially romantic, fun, exciting, and very challenging, but in a way that could foster growth for you, okay? What's the problem here? You have to be very careful, because if there is a lot of passion here, to me it feels like how the passion can feed on itself. Like, let's say the relationship comes to fruition and you actually kind of get into a relationship and you grow on them and they grow on you. And you know how some people actually get off on the challenge and the excitement? It actually triggers passion. And with the sun square sun, that's kind of inevitable. You have to be careful where, well, what my feeling here is that with the Seven of Wands, you have to be careful that you don't take on more than you can handle. On the other hand, you have to understand that you are more than capable of taking on the situation. However, it's on the understanding that you will be challenged. Your passions might be triggered. Their passions might be triggered. And you might be literally, with all this Wands energy here, passionately attracted to each other in a way that would represent two people who are actually both people simultaneously in a growth relationship, a learning relationship. In other words, it might not be a marriage. It might be more like a romance or a passionate encounter or something like that. And you realize, wow, I learned so much from that relationship. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what really works for me. And I learned a lot about what does not work for me. Those are the kind of dynamics of a learning relationship. And that could be beneficial for the other person too, the Taurus person. You know, they could benefit tremendously by being in a relationship with you and everything that they're going to encounter and all the challenges that they're going to have, okay? Let's have a look. How do you go forward from here? Because to me it looks like it's very, very tempting. Let's for example, like in a very old-fashioned sense, that you send out romantic signals to this other person, to the crush person, like, hi, I really like you. I'm really attracted to you. I'm just letting you know you have a green light to chase me. You have a green light to come after me, okay? And then you realize, whoa, my God, wow, maybe I took on more than I can handle. It's okay. It's not the end of the world, okay? How do we go forward here? Because this looks like it's potentially exciting, potentially passionate, but potentially combative. It's inevitable it's going to be combative at some point. Eventually, you're going to clash. Your crush, you will eventually clash with your crush, okay? It is inevitable. It doesn't mean you don't have the relationship. It doesn't mean you don't do this. It doesn't mean you don't stop yourself from being passionately attracted to each other, or you to them, or them to you. How do we go forward here? Live in truth, okay? To me, with the Ace of Swords here, this is a very strong indication that this is a tremendous opportunity as a learning experience. Now, it is a card of sacred opportunity, so you don't have to accept it. It's there if you want it. But please understand, if you or the other person or both of you decide you're going to have a relationship with each other and it happens to be passionate, it is going to trigger a lot of, let's say, sparks and energy. Just give me a second, Lesiele. I got to be right back. Hold on, I got to pick up something. Stay right there. Don't go away. I'll fix it again. I'll fix it. I'm back. Give me a second. I'll be right back. A little bit of a household emergency, that's all. Don't worry. Okay, so let's see. To me, the message feels kind of like really loud and clear that... Sorry about the distractions there. Sorry, Leslie Ellie. Okay. The way forward is to look at the situation as an opportunity for learning and for growth for yourself. And it's incredibly important that you, if you decide to trigger this opportunity, in other words, if you let that person know that you want to be with them and they come after you, understand that this is just raw truth happening. This is your truth unfolding. This is your life unfolding. It's a moment of sacred opportunity. It is a chance to discover truth, knowledge, wisdom, experience that could never be achieved in any other way. So in some ways, this potential relationship is a gift to you. But you just simply have to be aware that from my perspective as your reader, it looks very much like a learning experience where there's no signs of... Well, I don't want to prejudge the relationship because that 7th house energy that I pointed at here, these are very strong messages here that this relationship is happening at a very significant time in your life right now, this very, very moment right now. If it's just a love crush right now, let's see what happens in the next few weeks, the next few months, okay? See what happens from there. Please get in touch with me. I've got my email right here. Let me know how things go. And just be aware that this is potentially a relationship that potentially has a lot of mutual attraction. Who's going to make the first move, okay? And whether they come after you, because okay, if he already knows that you've got a crush on him, okay? Let me finish the reading now. If he already knows, instinctively, he might know that, wow, this could be a really exciting, passionate, challenging relationship. But then there's the risk that I could be dumped, okay? If you're not aware of this, Lesiele, guys don't like to be dumped. They don't like, nobody wants to be dumped. If the relationship's going to end, most people would rather be the one who, there's the dumper and the dumpee, okay? In other words, when a relationship starts to end, someone says, you know what, screw you. I'm dumping you. You don't dump me. I dump you. Most guys can't handle that. They don't want that because it really hurts the ego, you know. And so some guys are shy. They will withhold. They will not do anything, even though they are aware that someone has a crush on them. They will still withhold because they might be scared. They might be frightened, like, oh my God, if I do this, I could get dumped. Or what happens if I get dumped? Looks like the screen is frozen here. Oh, it's okay. So just be aware. With the Ace of Swords here, it looks like a tremendous opportunity for learning and growth, whatever happens. Okay? All right, let's just go over here. Let's see, I hope that reading helped you. Okay? Laura H., you are up. Here we go. Gosh, I don't know how I'm not watching the clock or anything. I don't know what is it. Okay, we've been going for quite a while. All right, Laura, I have to go scroll back through the chat to get your notes here. I'm pretty sure you left some notes. Let's see. Uh-oh, something's freezing up here. I don't know what it is. Oh no, what's going on? Oh man. Please. Oh God. I feel like someone's trying to shut down this channel. It's ridiculous. I don't know if anybody can see or hear anything that's happening right now. Okay. Alright, so all those parts are good. Let me go over here. Wow. Wow, I'm sorry, this is awful, but oh man. Sorry, Laura H., can you give me a second if you're still seeing or hearing any of this? Because everything is crashing over here. It's like YouTube has decided to... I don't know what it's doing. I'm going to have to close it up. How am I going to close this off? Hold on. Oh, this is weird. Sorry, please, people, if you could still this, I don't know, but I can't see how... I can't see what's happening. The whole of the Chrome browser is crashed. Okay, so I'll put this up here. And this over here, this over here. Man. Wow. Hold on. I'm going to have to do something pretty radical here. Oh, heck. How am I going to do this? Oh, man. Oh, how the hell? End the task. Okay. Alright. Oh, man. Sorry, this is wasting a lot of time here. I'm going to try and start all over again. Oh, wait a minute. Okay. Now it says it's actually still live streaming. Okay. Okay. Whew, this is very, very strange. I don't know what happened, technically speaking. There's nothing wrong over here. Give me a second. All of that looks fine. All of this looks fine over here. So, something crashed over here. The whole of the Chrome, YouTube, Google thing, everything just kind of went. I think I had to wipe it out and restart everything from scratch. Let me see if I can go back to the stage here. Hold on. Yeah, we should be okay now. Looks like I can still see the chat. Oh, there we are. Yeah, okay. It looks like we're sort of back. Alright, let me go over here. I need to go back in the chat. I need to check in with Laura H. Where is it? Where's Laura H? Where's Laura H? Oh, you know what? Damn, because we lost all the part of the stream. So, Laura H, everything that happened earlier in the show, I've lost it over here. I don't have any records or anything. So could you, if you're still here, could you please type in a couple notes for me? I know you had some notes for me. Like, what is this reading about? What kind of messages can I bring to you tonight regarding the subject of ... Is it finance, career, health, relationship, family, spiritual journey, your karma, loss of a loved one, a pet, whatever it is? Could you please type something in there so that I have a reference post? Yes, okay, now Laura, I see you. I see you in the chat. Could you put your notes in again, whatever they were? Oh, I see it now. Is there a loving, committed relationship coming? Okay, so it's like a little future cast. Okay, we can do that. Let's have a look. Okay, Laura. So we're looking ahead here. Is there a potential for a loving, committed relationship? That's sweet. Okay? I guess in so many ways it's one of the most highly desired things in human existence, human experience. And that is to have a committed, loving relationship. That's where you love anyway. That's where you love when you don't want to love. I'm not saying you let someone walk all over you. I'm not saying you walk all over someone else and you call that love, okay? A loving, committed relationship exists like Laura, for example. Give me a second here. Laura, when I do private readings for people, I do much more complex spreads. I have a Tarot Lumination Crucible spread, which is specifically about love and relationship, okay? I'm not going to do that here tonight. It's quite consuming, but we can still do some basics, okay? So if you want to get into that another time, we can do so. You can go to tarotlumination.com, you can book a reading that way. And it's just like this. We do it live, but it's just in person, you and me, on camera, everything. We can deal with anything and everything live, real time, and then you get to own the recording and you keep it. In the meantime, we've got this, okay? Let me just clear the deck here. let's have a look. Alright, I'm going to split it up. Alright, what kind of messages do we have here tonight for Laura H. regarding the subject of a potential for a committed, loving relationship? Alright, let's have a look. Here's the situation itself, which is the subject matter. Here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to deal with it, okay? And then we have to look at the environmental influences, because asking a question the way you did, it kind of implies that you are absent of a loving, committed relationship at this moment in time. Probably, otherwise you might not have asked. Anyway, so externally, what's out there? We've got the Ace of Pentacles. So this, in its own weird way, is a wonderful card to have here. It's a card of sacred opportunity. It's an indication that there are, like, the opportunity for new starts and new beginnings is definitely there for you. What does that look like? That's a whole other story. But this would be something that would be very, very measurable. You see, with the pentacles here, it would be very, very evident. In other words, when you're looking objectively at a relationship or a potential relationship, hold on, let me check in with you. When you're looking at the love and relationship dynamics, let's say someone just shows up, okay? Let's say you just show up for someone else, or someone else shows up for you, and it seems very synchronistic, like, wow, this could be interesting. Okay. Card of Sacred Opportunity. Oh, I remember that reading with TL. Ace of Pentacles. Oh, yeah. Ooh, what did he say about that? Okay, so with the Ace of Pentacles, it's all about evidence. It's like love is as love does. Okay? So, in what it would be defined as a loving, committed relationship, those would have certain classic characteristics, classic raw ingredients that constitute exactly what you would need and what you would want. And there's a lot of things that also show up in relationships that are nothing to do with loving and committed, or being loving and being committed. Okay? There's a ton of other stuff out there that looks like or sounds like or pretends to be a loving relationship or dynamic or interest, but it's not. With the Ace of Pentacles there for you, to me it feels like the planets are basically sitting there as a reminder. I don't know your astrology or anything, but it's pretty extreme alignments with the planets right now, wherever that is in your chart, however that works out, okay? But what it's saying here with the reading, with the Ace of Pentacles, is that what really counts, what you need to look for, is the evidence. So when I say the evidence, I mean love is as love does. And the things that really count are patience, kindness, consideration, respect, compassion, affection. All of those things can be demonstrated by action. Okay? Anything outside of those core ingredients might not be so worthy. Oh, it says here, you're an Aquarius sun. Oh, okay. So, you're obviously aware that you're being strongly impacted by the planets right now. Saturn, Venus, Mars, and Moon simultaneously. That's a huge stellium in Aquarius right now. So that's probably why you ended up on this show, on this channel tonight. You just needed to know, as an Aquarius sun. It's brought up the subject of like, who am I in a loving relationship? What's out there for me? Okay, Aquarius sun being aspected by those 4 transiting planets in a big stellium right now. So, yeah, it makes sense why you would ask. Now, go back to basics. Love is as love does. So, let's say you're shopping, okay? Let's say you're shopping for love and commitment in the form of a loving, committed relationship, okay? A good, wholesome, classic, loving, committed relationship will have all of those core ingredients, okay? According to Scott Peck, he's a writer. I really admire him. I don't know if he's still alive, but he was a military, battlefield surgeon, doctor. And he wrote a few books on the subject of love. One of the best, it's an amazing book. You should read it. It's called The Road Less Traveled. And it has a lot of Saturn themes in it about how love isn't all about, chocolates and flowers and dating and wedding parties and getting laid and having multiple orgasms and making babies and hanging out with all your other married boyfriends and girlfriends. That's sort of like biological imperatives. What he talks about with love, I'm not talking about relationships, but love in general. Love, what is love? What is love? Think of it as love in action. Love is as love does. Love is the willing, conscious decision to deliberately go outside of your comfort zone in order to deliberately foster the growth, spiritual growth, the love of another person that's not you, with whom you feel a profound connection. It can even be a total stranger. You can be very loving towards a total stranger. Doesn't mean you have to have sex with them or give them all your money. All I'm suggesting is love is as love does. Like, let's say you get married and have a kid, okay? And you realize, like, oh my God, this kid is now like 3 years old. It's taking all my life force, all my energy, all my money, all my partner's money, and I don't have a life left for me anymore. And in a loving, committed relationship with that child, you love anyway. It's the same thing with a relationship. Love is as love does. So when I see the Ace of Pentacles here for you, and when I think about the astrology, and you're an Aquarius sun, the gates are open for you. So it's almost like it's a great opportunity to invite things to happen. Like, dear invisible friends, dear guardian angels, dear protectors, dear loved ones from the great beyond, pets, for anybody out there in the invisible world and the visible world, if you care for me at all, please bring to me that which is mine when it comes to love and commitment. Please take away from me anything that is not mine. Please bring something to me. See, it's like an invitation. Love by invitation. Like basically saying to the universe, I'm ready. I can do this. I want a loving, committed relationship. Well, guess what? Okay? For that to happen, you have to be willing to offer up front a loving, committed relationship. Ha 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 ha. Tricky. That's where it gets tricky, right? All right. So the opportunity is there. It is conditional. It's on the understanding that love is as love does. Actions speak louder than words. The only thing that counts, Laura H, for you, with love and loving and a committed loving relationship, is where the actions speak for themselves. In order to experience that from the other, you have to be willing to offer that to the other. So love is as love does for you. So you have to conduct yourself in a way that expresses love in those ways. What's the situation? Okay, with the Two of Wands here, it might be you've never really kind of thought about it in this perspective before. Like, wow, if I want that to come to me, then I have to offer that in the first place. So in other words, you have to live by example by showing that you are loving and committed by nature. And that means not just, in a lovey-dovey, hookup romance, but in every aspect of your life. You act lovingly and with commitment. Whether you're talking, have to, deal with someone at a grocery store, or a cousin, or a relative, or a competitor, or someone who's interested in you, or that you're not interested in them, or someone that you're interested in but they're not interested in you. Either way, it's all about what is the energy that you are radiating. So when I see the Two of Wands here, to me it feels like, oh wow, I really have to recalibrate myself. I am Laura H. I've got to really kind of rethink how I do love and romance and relationship. If I want, okay, not if, but let's say, in fact, now that I have decided that I want a loving, committed relationship, whoa, that puts me on notice that, wow, given what TL just said, that means I have to be the one who radiates the energy of loving commitment. And then, guess what, Laura? The laws of attraction kick in. You radiate the energy of a loving, committed relationship, and guess what? You attract that to you. So in other words, the way to manifest this kind of thing, manifestation, huge Ace of Pentacles energy here, Pentacles physical reality, 3D, is like, wow, I have to be the one who's responsible. And I'm the one who has to plant the seeds. Sowing seeds of love, sowing seeds of commitment. So it's like your job to create that in your aura, so that your aura just oozes and radiates loving commitment. And then, guess what? With the laws of attraction, that will attract to you the equivalent. Now, what's the problem here? It's not easy to do. Well, with the Six of Cups, it could indicate that, well, it's a beautiful card in its own right, but in this position with this reading, to me it makes me feel like I hope I don't attract some kind of karmic past life, reliving the whole thing again to make amends of what didn't work in the past life type of relationship. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. In other words, I'm really scared of, it's almost, to me it feels like there's a deep fear that you might attract some kind of heavy karmic past life relationship where it's all about working through issues that were never reconciled in a previous lifetime. Okay, I don't know if you ever think about life and love relationships in those kind of ways, but those kind of relationships do happen, okay? So if deep down you are frightened of that, it's understandable. It would be like, oh my God, it's like being scared, like, oh, I've known you before. I know we were together before in a past life, okay? And the other person is like, wow. So there's like this karmic reconnection type of thing, okay? A lot of times people want something fresh and brand new. But sometimes we live a lifetime or certain chapters of a lifetime where there's, like, say, a huge amount of retrogrades. Like, Laura, if we worked together and we had a specific person in mind, we could do a very, very in-depth reading on that. And you could find out the true nature of the relationship at the core. It's not just you and the other or the other and you. It's you, the other, and the relationship. And the relationship is a third entity that has its own life, existence, meaning, and purpose above and beyond you or the other person. And that looks like that might be something that's a little bit daunting or intimidating for you. Like, I'm not sure I want to do that. I'm not sure if I'm very keen on recycled past life relationships where we have to make amends. Oh well. Anyway, let's go forward. Let's see, how are we going to deal with things overall? Okay, so with the Four of Cups, my feeling is that it's like you have to go forward knowing that you've been hurt before, you have loved and lost before, you have operated in such a way or behaved in such a way that you thought or believed was loving and committed, only to discover that, oh, there wasn't love and there wasn't commitment. And that could have left a very deep wound for you, to the point where you'd be extremely doubtful that there's any hope left for you for the future. Is there any hope? Like, in other words, because with the Four of Cups, all the attention is over here, okay? All the love that's been expended, and what is there to show for that, okay? And yet over here, like, click, in real time, in 3D, in a multi-dimensional perspective, love is always there. You are always and permanently surrounded by love in its broadest sense, in the healing power of love. But if you're focused on what doesn't work or what didn't work, it's impossible to attract the potential of what can or could work. So to me, it's an indication here that in order to proceed, number one, you got to get back to number one, love thyself, and be prepared to recalibrate yourself in a way that allows for you to, let's say, seed the opportunity for loving, committed relationship, not by hunting for it or waiting for it to come to you, but instead by deliberately seeing this as a new start, a new beginning for you, okay? You're an Aquarius sun. You just lived through the Aquarius season when the sun was in Aquarius too. But the sun is already well into Pisces, and it's going to head into, well, actually, it's already in Aries now, isn't it? Yeah. So, there's a whole new perspective for you going forward. And so the way to go forward is to realize, like, there's no point in dwelling on the past and what didn't work or what coulda, woulda, shoulda have worked. Yes, maybe things coulda, woulda, or shoulda have been. And maybe you have seeds now planted for karmic, relationships in another future lifetime where you can work on those. But for now, in this particular lifetime, right now, we're dealing with the energies of sacred opportunity. This is like a miniature tiny Ace of Cups, okay? It's right there. It's right there for you. The opportunity's there. But really what is most important is that instead of waiting for it or expecting it to come to you because you're nice and sweet and caring and loving and you would like to have loving commitment, instead it's about recalibrating yourself to radiate loving commitment. And so in other words, anything that does not comport with loving commitment dynamics of energy is forbidden. So you are now on notice to yourself, for your own benefit, so that you don't have to live in continuous cycles of reincarnation, having to repair past life romance, like if you had a lot of retrogrades in your chart or something like that. Instead, look at the present, look at the time here and now, and realize, wow, it really is up to me. Planting seeds of love simply by recalibrating myself and then allowing that to work through the laws of attraction. Okay? Be loving, be loved. Be committed, attract commitment. Perhaps you have a history of being loving and romantic and deciding, this doesn't work, and then you decommit yourself. Or perhaps you, with loving commitment as the themes, you commit very strongly with someone and then you realize, I don't really love that person and they don't really love me. And so you unlove. And then you realize, okay, this formula doesn't work. And you start building past life karmic relationships that need healing in the future. So the way forward is completely it's a complete radical remake, okay? I hope that I don't want to keep repeating myself, but it's really up to you, Laura, to radiate that which you desire. Being loving and being committed in the classical sense, respect, patience, consideration, kindness, affection, live and let live. And you have to do that by example. Live by example, okay? I hope that helps you, Laura. We have to move on. We've got a few more readings here to do. Thank you, Laura. I hope I didn't hurt your feelings or anything, but I hope it helps, okay? Jennifer, if you have some notes for me, they are gone because the live stream was shut down. I don't know how or why or who, but it was shut down. Jennifer Frederick, you are up. Please could you remind me if you had any notes? I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. Okay, I've got the monitors over here. So I'm going to keep an eye on the chat. In the meantime, we're going to shuffle up and get ready for your reading. Okay? Thank you, everybody, for being here tonight. Thank you for your kindness and generosity. It's really how I keep my life going. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a really, really big deal to me that I still have this channel and you guys come here and you put in your donations and I give what I can in return, okay? Laura, it's truly my honor. I love doing this. If I could do this 4, 6, 8 hours a day, I would, but I can't. It actually, it takes a toll, and I have to allow for the other components of my life as well. I don't know what's going to happen down the road with myself or the channel, but we're still here for now, okay? Jennifer, you're up. I would love it if you could check in on the screen if you're still here. If you ended up, it was too long, too late, and you had to go off somewhere, I understand. You'll get a blind reading anyway, okay? In the meantime, I'm going to do a couple more moments of shuffling here. Sometimes the delay is really extreme on the show, like 45 seconds to 90 seconds, and it makes it very hard to connect to people with the chat because it's completely out of sequence. Anyway, we'll see. Jennifer, you're up. If you're out there, I hope you're still out there live in real time. I can't scroll back to the chat because the chat disappeared when YouTube crashed. Okay? There's nothing I can do. Nothing I can do about that. Okay? So let's go back over here. Give me a second. All right, I'm trying to get myself organized. Doopy-doopy-doo. Okay, got that. All right, so we're good. Okay. The last line I see on the chat, it's from Laura, and she says, "Thank you again for all the time," and Jennifer. Hello, Jennifer. Ah, hello. Okay. It wasn't letting you type. Oh, that sucks. Well, I've had a lot of trolls recently who promised that they were going to do whatever they could to try and, kind of destroy my channel. This doesn't seem right. You had 2 questions. Okay. Let's see if we can combine all that into one reading. Can you please... Now, I can see your chat there, Jennifer, so can you, while everything's working, can you type in your notes? Okay, it says here, a relationship with me, Cancer, and Jake, Pisces. I'm wondering if you can see a new career opening for me. Okay, so we got 2 little components here. Let me break that up. Maybe they're intertwined. I might have to just do one or the other. Hold on. Here's you, Cancerian. And then there's Jake. Is that Jake? Did I get that right? Jake, Pisces. Okay. It's a bit, they're completely 2 different energy fields, okay, Jennifer? So, okay, let me see over here, career, question marks about career opportunity. Career opportunity. Okay, I'm just making notes here, okay? Yeah, I can it's these are 2 completely different scenarios. That's basically 2 readings. Whew. Okay. Let me just mention something, okay, Jennifer? I am probably going to focus on the career opportunity thing here, but I want to mention something about Jake, okay? If Jake is a Pisces sun, so you have to understand that the Pisces energy has been very, very strong for a long time now, and it has also been amplified. In the last few weeks, a month or so, the Sun traversed Pisces, and Mercury traversed Pisces. Jupiter is in Pisces, very close to Neptune in Pisces. So it's not as strong right now, but a few weeks ago, and leading up to that, a few months ago, the Pisces energy was very, very strong, okay? And that might have kind of like, saturated into your world. Now, one of the things you have to be careful with the Piscean energy is that it's absolutely beautiful and when it's working properly, but it's also very, very difficult to handle when it's not working properly. So if you have question marks, it's understandable. Thank you, Tina. You got a good point there. So let's pull this out here. I'm going to shuffle a little bit more. We shuffled already, but I'm going to do a little bit more. That's really neat, Tina. Thank you for that. We'll see. Okay, another thing, Jennifer, regarding yourself, Cancerian, Jake, Piscean. If you're talking about your sun signs, by definition, the Cancer-Pisces relationship dynamic is naturally harmonious by default. It's what's called a trine in astrology and Western simple astrology, which is what I do, simplified Western astrology. The Cancer-Pisces dynamic is what's called a trine. It's a harmonious angle. It is 120 degrees. Yeah, it's 120 degrees dynamic. It's like this. So you might have heard about this, like Scorpio, Cancer, and Pisces. They are the water signs, and they are naturally harmonious with each other. Now, just because textbook definitions say that Cancer and Pisces are harmonious by nature doesn't mean you're going to have a delicious, loving relationship. It's just that things can flow very naturally. So if there's a lot of dysfunction, that can flow very naturally. If there's a lot of passion or function, that can flow very naturally. It can feel like it's very, very comfortable. When you have a sun trine sun relationship, 120 degree type of angle, it feels very natural. It just comes naturally, okay? But what can often happen is that with sun trine sun relationships, people just take the comfort for granted. And they just think, well, so I get along with you, you get along with me, it's perfect. We're in love. We must be in love. Let's just do it. Come on, let's do it, baby. Come on, Jake. And Jake might be thinking, well, come on, Jennifer, it's natural. But that's just sun to sun. And there is so much that goes on in a love relationship besides sun and sun. In some ways, you're off to a very good start if you've got a strong, healthy, loving attraction between yourself and Jake and between Jake and yourself. And it has all the characteristics we talked about earlier in the previous reading. Respect, kindness, patience, consideration, affection. Those characteristics need to be extremely evident, as in love is as love does. So even though it might be comfortable, there could be whole other layers that have nothing to do with those core ingredients that I just mentioned. Okay, so just please be aware. Let's do the reading. Okay, let's see what comes up. Okay. Cards are well shuffled now. We've had plenty of time. Thank you everybody tonight, by the way, for your kindness and generosity. We've had a few new faces and new names here tonight. I really appreciate that. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. And let's see what comes up here. External influences. I almost always default to the transits of the moment, but we'll see. Okay. To me, it doesn't feel like it's career or love. To me, it feels like it's all about you, Jennifer. And perhaps, let's look at it this way. With the Queen of Wands energy here, let's take the whole reading up a notch. Let's not worry specifically about Jake. Let's not worry specifically about career opportunities in definition. But let's focus on you. Okay? Like if you are, so if you're, you said you're a Cancerian sun sign, okay, by the sound of it. So, we're right now here with the transits of this moment. Sun is in Aries. That's squared to Cancer, okay? Mercury is in Aries, squared to Cancer. there's a love interest with a bunch of Piscean energy over here. And that's fine. Great. With a Cancerian, let's put the charts this way. Let's put you on the sun on the horizon here. The career aspect would be amplified over here. So you might have been prompted to ask about career because on a simulated solar chart like this, where I put the sun in here, then the 10th house is represented by Aries, and the sun is transiting there right now. So that could explain why you might have a strong interest in career opportunities and so on. Okay, that's the 10th house. That's what it's all about. Career, destiny, your place in this world, your future, your long-term trajectory, your purpose, your karma, and all of that for being here. But as a Cancerian, you're probably aware that Pluto has been transiting your 7th house for many years now, and it's still there. So, in other words, yeah, it would be natural to be concerned about love and relationship. But, sorry, let me go back here. Right now, in terms of the transits, there's really nothing going on over here. Okay, because this is the Cancerian. In a few months, we're going to have Sun and Mercury and Venus over here and so on. But for right now, tonight, it feels to me like this is a really good chance for you to look at yourself in the mirror and figure out, who am I really? Why am I here? Why did I end up on this channel getting a reading? Why did I ask specifically about Jake? And why did I ask about career? To me, it's an indication that you are very direct, clear, and pure in thought and intentions. Jennifer, you just came right out. What about Jake? I'm a Cancerian, he's a Pisces. What about my career? What's the potential? Okay. It's really, really nice when the language is simple, clear, and direct, and understandable, okay? So with the Queen of Wands energy here, my feeling is that you don't necessarily have to worry about Jake and romance. You don't necessarily have to worry about career and things directly right now. I can see why you'd be triggered by career. And to me, the whole reading feels like it's much more career-oriented because of the Aries energy heavily lighting up your 10th house right now on a solar Cancerian chart. Okay, so let's have a look at the situation. Whoa. So, okay, so we got the Knight of Swords here. To me, it feels like there's a lot of pent-up energy, okay, Jennifer? It's like you have a lot. It's like being someone who has a lot of talent, a lot of skills, a lot of intelligence, a lot of integrity, a lot of passion, some pretty serious ambition, and you just want to get on with it. Okay? It's like for your whole life. And to me it feels like right now it's being very amplified. Now with the Sun in Aries right now, and all that energy that's going to be piling up even more in Aries, okay, over here, it's going to pile up, okay? Where's Mercury? There's Mercury, Sun, okay, right there, right now. In a few months, Mars is going to be there, okay? In a few months, Venus is going to be there too. So to me, it feels like this reading is kind of like doing reconnaissance. Like what we're doing here is reconnaissance for what lies ahead for you. Because you are asking questions that, by definition, are all about things that lie ahead for you in the future. So, regarding Jake or regarding opportunity. So when I see the Knight of Swords here, my feeling is just like there's this really pent up energy. Like I just want to freaking get on with things. I want to cut through all the bullshit in life. I don't want to spend any time or energy wasted on futile love relationships, futile activities, or wasting any time or in on things like jobs or careers or activities where you are not fully engaged and operating at your most optimal self. To me, this looks like the energy of extreme frustration, not in the way that you're going berserk, but extreme frustration now coming to the surface where it's time to acknowledge this. I don't want to mess around anymore. I was going to use some really extreme language. Sorry there, Jennifer, but really, I don't want to screw around anymore. I don't want to mess around with life anymore. I want what's mine. What I want is real. I want what's true. I want what I deserve. I know what I deserve. I'm willing to do what has to be done to get what I deserve, to be who I really, really am. And so this, to me, it feels like this energy is piling up right in you right now. My feeling is that it's going to expand even more. So to me, this is an indication you might be one of these people who's at a point in life where you're realizing like, wow, I have a lot to offer. I have a lot to do. I want to offer a lot. I want to be able to do a lot. I'm not scared to lead. I am not frightened to engage with, let's say, high-risk situations where I am taken to the limits of my abilities, whatever that might be. Love, career, family, whatever it is. All I know is that I freaking want to get on with it. Jennifer, there are some people, I'm not one of these people, but Jennifer, have you heard about this, what's it called, LinkedIn? The so-called job market, where there are all these like super ultra highly qualified people who are looking to be hired by these highly demanding employers, corporations, or whatever. And the competition is very, 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 very extreme. And you might be one of these people who happens to have a lot of qualities, characteristics, maybe qualifications that make you very, let's say, suitable or appropriate for like success or rewards or upgrades in your career. But then you also realize, oh my God, there's 10 other people out there like me, but different, and they could all easily take my spot. That's my spot. Career. Wow. I deserve this, and that. Okay? That's what I want. That's what I need. That's what I deserve. But sometimes when you go into these... the reason I'm mentioning this, Jennifer, is because I have a very dear friend. We only check in every few months, but we're very close here. And she's highly accredited. She's an Emmy award-winning TV and movie producer. But you would not comprehend the incredible challenges that she has had to face in order to get, like, in the employment pipeline, to get inside, like, the career opportunity situation that matches her credentials. Because she is so far up the ladder that there are all sorts of weird things that kick in that really don't make any sense in terms of merit. Okay? It's more about like corporate politics, or oh wow, you could be a liability for retirement pension costs, or healthcare issues, or you're not politically correct, you don't come from the right family background, or you didn't go to the right schools or colleges or whatever, That crap goes on, okay? I don't know if you're in that kind of category, but that's kind of what I'm sensing here. And it can make it very hard and very, very frustrating, especially if you're very well qualified, okay? And then to discover, like, wow, it's really not all about merit. You might have extreme merit and capabilities, and you might discover that, like, wow, I'm not the right color. Oh, I'm not the right gender. Oh, I'm not the right age. What the hell has any of that to do with merit or potential or value in terms of a career? And yet, all of that crap exists in the marketplace when it comes to career. All right, let's see, what's the problems here? Okay, Six of Cups. This is difficult. So, Jennifer, I don't know if there's any kind of crossover energies going on between love and relationships and career, or between career and love and relationships. Again, I'm referring back to my dear friend. The reason I'm mentioning this with the Six of Cups is because, let me tell you, my dear friend was married to my other very dear friend. My other dear friend, he passed away. He was a young lad. It was a horrific ending. And they had a fantastic relationship. They had love and career intertwined. They were building something together. He passed away, and now she's on her own. The only thing that counts for her anymore is career. She's not interested in new love or new relationship. It's herself and her dogs and the home, and she's, and by some measures, extremely successful, but she is not anywhere near appreciated or rewarded relative to her actual merit. So that's extremely frustrating. So when I see this card here, the Six of Cups for you, the reason I'm mentioning this is because there are situations where love and career overlap. Relationships. In other words, I mean, there's so many different versions of it. I don't want to go into any details, but with the Six of Cups here, it might make you feel as though wow, the only way forward is if I get married into the career. Or what happens if I don't have the proper relationships inside those career dynamics? Oh my God, all these past life credentials. Let's take it to the extremes, okay, Jennifer? Let's talk about the British monarchy and the Queen of England or whatever, okay? I'm thinking about queens here, you might be the most amazing person, but if you didn't come from the right family background and, 10, 11, 12, 20 generations of past lives on family trees together, then I'm sorry you don't qualify, Oh dear, oh dear. You're a wonderful person, Jennifer, but, that's the problem. You don't come from the right, let's say, background. Let's go forward. How do we deal with this going forward? Life and love. Maybe these two things are connected for a reason. Look at this. Here's a card of sacred opportunity. It is the Ace of Cups. Wow. Talk about love is as love does. So with the Ace of Cups here, again, this is a card of sacred opportunity. It's just like, dear Jennifer, everything is already lined up for you, whether you like it or know it or not. And the purpose of this reading is just a little bit of like a, shake on the shoulder, a bit of a wake-up call to see things in a little bit new perspectives, okay? So the way to go forward is to understand that, I'm really stretching the reading here, Jennifer, okay? I'm really like, I'm not being cocky, but I feel like I'm taking advantage of myself as a tarot reader, having done thousands of readings for people, where I feel it's okay for me to say that, you know what? It is possible that opportunities in career could be highly correlated to opportunity in love. And vice versa. It could be that certain opportunities in love could be highly correlated to career. It does happen, okay? Jennifer, it really, really does happen. I know it happens. I'm not saying it happened for me, but I know it happened for my dear friend and her ex-husband, and for my dear friend and his wife. He's already gone on the other side now. Wonderful, wonderful loving. Their love was their career. Their career was their love. They were intertwined as one thing. It does happen. You can marry into the business. Let's put it that way, okay? Let's take it one step further and then I'll shut up, okay, Jennifer? Let's say Jake has some kind of affiliations with a certain type of career environment that is appealing to you. Or let's say that you have a certain kind of career environment that is appealing to Jake. And then you end up in a mutually supportive type of dynamic. It's good for business, Anyway, I went a little bit too far there, but it's not off the table. I hope this reading makes sense to you, Jennifer, and you get something out of it, okay? Thank you so much for your support and your donation and all of that stuff. Please, there's my email, alittlebookabout@yahoo.com. I would love to know how things develop for you over the next few months, the next year or so, regarding these matters. And of course, if you want to get really deep into it, you can go to tarotlumination.com and you can schedule and book and sort out a reading from there personally. We can go into it much deeper. Okay? Especially if you end up actually interacting with Jake. I have to say, Jennifer, I'm kind of fascinated by this reading. It's kind of an unusual reading as far as I'm concerned. 2 subjects in one, and then it started off in one direction, and at the end of the reading, I felt that like there's some kind of overlap. Career, love, career. I don't know. I'm just saying. Precious, you're up. I hope your phone battery is still okay, or if your tablet or your laptop, whatever it is you're watching on, I hope you're still here. Let's have a look. Precious, you're up. This is the last reading of the evening. It's been wonderful, everybody. A lot of you have probably gone home, gone to bed. I understand. Don't worry. It's very late on a Sunday night for some of us. Anyway, Precious, you're up. I know, Precious, like over here, it looks like it's, 8:30. So it's already 9:30 p.m. for you, or is it 10:30? That's very late. It's Sunday night, and you're at the shelter right now with your kids. God help you, and I mean that in a good way. God help you. All right? You know what, Precious, if you don't mind, I need a little top up here. So I'm going to play a little interlude. And I'll be right back. I hope you're okay with that. Let's have a look here. Let's have a look. I'm going to... Give me a second, okay, Precious? All right. Okay, Jennifer, thank you for all of that. I really enjoyed doing that reading for you. I like it when things sort of are like challenging for me in such a way, because I really didn't know what to expect, and I felt the reading was shifting and changing as we were going. All right, Precious, you're up. I hope your device is still working. You've got a little bit of electricity left on there, so we can do this. So, most of you have probably gone home, gone to bed by now. Thank you. If anyone's still watching and you want to get a personal reading, you know where to go. TarotLumination.com. Let me just show you. I'm just doing that stuff now. This is what it looks like. TarotLumination.com. Okay, that's it. TarotLumination.com, and there are different pages. You can select readings, and you just click that, and you can schedule and book and pay a reading that way, and so on. There you go. All right, Precious, man. I'm sorry. I, as you know, Precious, I was watching things very closely with the Canadian Trucker Freedom Rally, and that's kind of when things got really, really tough over there in Canada. And now Canada is in a very, very... Whoa, man, it's the stuff that's going on there right now with the Prime Minister. Man, that is really disturbing. You didn't want to take the injection, and so you're out of work. And there are a lot of people in America like that too, Precious, okay? There are literally millions of people in America who refused to play that game because for whatever reasons. I'm not going to get into that. But they refused to be forced into having an injection in order to go to work. Okay, I don't blame them. On the other hand, I wouldn't blame somebody if they accepted the injection, if they had all sorts of overwhelming reasons to go to work. You don't have to feel guilty. You don't have to be proud. You're just you being you, and this is your situation. All right, let's do a little mini reading here for you. Cards are pretty well shuffled. I need to do a little bit more. I want to say again thank you to Tina Miller, who very kindly sponsored this reading for Precious Moments tonight. Again, anybody out there, if you're ready, willing, and able, and you've got lots of spare money, you can send money directly to Precious. Or if you want to connect with me, I'll show you how to connect with Precious and all of that stuff. Donations would really help. Precious is in a shelter right now with her 3 kids. They're taking care of her, so she has housing. But it's brutal up there in Edmonton right now because it's still a heavy, very cold winter. And it could be months before living accommodations are sorted out, or work situations and cash flow and employment is sorted out. So Precious needs all the help and support that she can get right now, okay? It's not just Precious, it's Precious and her 3 kids, okay? Oh boy. We may have to do some kind of fundraiser or something like that. I don't know what else to do. All right, Precious, here's the situation. Let's see what this looks like for you. What kind of messages do we have for Precious right now here tonight? Here's the situation. We know kind of what it is, but here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle it. But the reading, the whole idea with the reading is that it gives us a little bit of extra illumination. Ace of Pentacles. Wow. We've had a lot of aces tonight. So to me it feels like don't give up, okay, Precious? What you're looking at in from the broad spectrum, from the eagle's eye perspective, is we're looking at new starts, new beginnings, new opportunities for how your life is going to manifest going forward from here. Yes, things might be extremely rough right now, but from, let's say, let's see if I can do this. I don't want to sound all pious or preachy or anything like that, but from a very elevated spiritual position, if you could view your life from way above, like you're some kind of dove of peace or eagle or some kind of angel, and you could see your life from way above planet Earth, you could fly down and comfort yourself and say, you know, Precious, it's okay. You're going to be okay. We're just living through an incident, okay? We're living through this right now. And what this is really all about is new starts and new beginnings and new opportunities for you. What does that look like? We're not sure yet because it's all brand new. It's all on the other side of the horizon. We're not there yet, okay? Heather, greetings over there in British Columbia. Greetings, Gregory, over there in New Mexico. So, Precious, let's just say we figure out a way to get some money into your wallet somehow, so you can, make sure that your phone is charged. Make sure that you got food for the kids, and that you can stay warm, okay, until all those things are sorted out in your world with shelter and accommodation and work and a paycheck, all right? What's the situation? Okay, so with the Page of Swords, to me it makes me feel like there's this part of you which is really innocent, and you feel like deep down you had no choice. You actually had no options. You had to call out the truth to yourself and to the world around you. You made a very profound decision, knowing that by refusing to become a slave to the system or to compromise your belief systems, your truth, your understanding of universal truth, you essentially had to be a rebel and call it out and basically say, uck you to the system, to the Canadian government that started basically acting like a totalitarian, communist, evil regime. The situation is that, to me, it almost feels like this is you talking right now. It's like, TL, anybody who is out there listening and watching, I am precious moments. I did not have a choice. I had to call out my truth. I called out my truth, and that's just how it is. And I'm sorry that it sucks for other people, especially my kids, because my kids are suffering right now because I called out the truth and I intend to live in truth, and that's just how it is. God help me. Okay? That's what I'm sensing here with this card, okay? With the Page of Swords. This is a very, very strong card of rebellious energy. This is almost like the Mars in Aquarius energy. It's almost like the David and Goliath energy. It's almost like, I don't give a shit what anybody says about how this is going to work or how that's going to work. The reality is that I'm going to be true to me. And I'm sorry if that sucks for everybody else, because I am being true to me in a way that corresponds to universal truth, okay? This is very much about Mars and Aquarius, the rebel. So, dear precious, even though you might not wear military, wardrobe, or you might not have weapons, and you might not be in the military or anything like that, to me this indicates that you are a fighter, and you will continue to be a fighter, and you will continue to choose to live in truth no matter what. And what's interesting, of course, precious, is that there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, if not millions of people who feel the same way as you. Okay? Everybody needs to know who's watching the show. Precious is up there in Canada. A few months ago, it's not in the news headlines right now, but all the news was all about the Freedom Trucker Rally over in Ottawa, the capital of Canada. So other things are happening in the news right now, but what's happening in Canada is still very much about the Ottawa Freedom Trucker Rally. And there are millions of Canadians who refuse to lay down or bow down to the totalitarian monster who thinks that he can control everything just by his words on a TV screen. You're a rebel fighter, precious. You're not necessarily in the front lines of the battlefield with combat gear and weapons, but you're still a rebel fighter, standing up and representing freedom. The rights to your sovereign self, the right to live in truth, the right to live in honesty. Okay, what's the problem here? The problem here with the Four of Swords is that it's putting a tremendous strain on your financial stability. Oh no! Oh no! How the hell am I going to hold on? How the hell am I going to retain any kind of financial stability, or how am I even going to secure any kind of financial stability for the future? Oh no! Well, let's see what's going on here. How do we deal with this? Oh, look at this. This is like the ultimate card of success and winning and happiness. So to me, it feels like with the Sun card here, it's just like, yeah, dear precious, you might be dealing with all the really painful things that naturally come with being a rebel warrior who stands in truth, acts in truth, lives in truth, even at the risk of your own material, financial stability and security. You're going to be okay. Ultimately, some way, somehow, you're going to be okay. This is a fabulous, powerful card to get in terms of resolution about going forward. The way I see it with the Sun card, it is completely, if you look at the expression, it's completely neutral. It isn't about like hilarious, drunken, ecstatic joy. It isn't about the kind of joy and success that comes with arrogance and oppression against anyone and anything that obscures your joy. It's just pure. It's just the, how can I better express it? You're going to be okay. Okay, precious? Ultimately, I know there's a ticking clock here, like when am I going to be okay? When am I going to get out of this? When am I going to get my shelter? When am I going to get a proper income again? When can I get back to work? When is this whole stupid farce with the Canadian government going to disappear so honest people can live an honest life? Okay? Well, I don't see, precious, to be honest, with the cards and the charts, I don't see any instantaneous resolution. We've still got 4 planets in Aquarius right now. It's very unstable. Okay? We've got the Neptune energy. Neptune conjunct Jupiter in Pisces. That's huge amounts of exposure of all the fraud, deception, betrayal, lies, squalor, and filth of, let's say, what I would call these like demonic evil people at the very, very top of the pyramid of power, control, and money. Not everybody who has power and control and money is evil. What I'm suggesting is that in order for a certain collection of people at the very top of the pyramid to maintain their power and their control and their money, they have to do what we call evil. Evil is literally the absence of love. Those people are willing to do things to themselves and their family and the world at large that you and I would call pure evil. They are willing to do that because that's how they make their money. That's how they stay in power. That's how they stay in control. That's how they get all their wealth. Money, power, and control. But there's other ways to live. You can live in love. Anyway, gotta go. Good night, Tina. Hey, precious, I hope this helps you. You're going to be okay, okay? You just have to know that you're going to be okay. You just have to keep being who you are. We're looking at new starts and new beginnings for you. It's not right now. You're still in the thick of it. You're still obviously stressed about money, stability, security, home, your castle, your foundations in life and the world. My God, what the hell is going to happen? But you are okay and you will be okay. I'm going to check up with you very, very soon, okay, precious? All right. All right, anybody. Thank you, Necessary. Best card in the deck. Yeah, I get it. You're going to be okay, precious, okay? You might be having a really, really rough time right now. But remember, there's at least, I would say there's at least 3 billion people on Earth right now who are also having a really shitty time with money, shelter, family, food, hygiene, sense of security and stability from one day to tomorrow to the next day. A lot of them will not have the Sun card. You have the Sun card. You're going to be okay. All right, so let's wrap it up, people. It's been a long show. We've done a bunch of readings. I really appreciate all the newbies who are here tonight. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It really means a lot to me that you came here and booked a reading with me and put your really hard-earned money down in the super chats and the PayPals and all of that stuff. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I don't know how to tell you how much this actually helps me to live my life. Okay? Okay, let's shuffle it up. We're going to wrap it up, people. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, precious. Let's clear the decks. Literally, let's clear the decks. Let's clear the decks as an expression from sailing and from shipping, where you have to make sure that the decks of the ship are in very, very good condition, because it's always in a state of risk because of the waves going up and down, and you can't afford to let anything loose on the decks that could be washed overboard. So you have to clear the decks. As soon as you've done your work on the decks, you clear the decks. Okay? Good night, Necessary. Good night, Gregory. Good night, Tina. Good night, Heather. Who was that up there? And good night, Jennifer. Good night, everybody. Good night, Laura. Good night, Precious. Good night, Lesieli. And good night, everybody who is here. You know, I can shuffle these off. I don't have to do this now. I can do this later. Good night, everybody. I'm just going to check out with you and bid thee farewell. It's been a super, super evening. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Be loving, be loved. Number 1, love thyself. Go from there, okay?